Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to the Stadia Initiative podcast. Today's date is Friday, October 2nd, 2020. And this is episode 14 entitled Survivor. And we record this podcast live every 2 weeks on Friday night at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. /Club Stadia. This is actually the penultimate episode. That's a fancy word on this channel. Starting October 30th, we'll be moving this show over to Chase's channel over at youtube.com/Stadia Talk. So this episode and the next episode will be your last two episodes here on this channel of the Stadia Initiative. We're just going to be moving to a different home, contract negotiations, move this over to Chase's channel instead. So, but my name is Brian. Enough blabbering for me. And without further ado, it's a time to assemble. Chase, Mr. Stark, how are you doing this evening?
It's been a long day. Long day with work. But I'm ready to talk about some Stadia. It's been a positive week overall for the platform and the division at Stadia. So I think there's some things to talk through.
Absolutely. MM2K, how are you?
Yeah. Hey, I'm ready to talk some Stadia. I have no more proper 12, but that's all right. I'll still be excited. And for my anime fan, hey Eddie, did you see my tweet, man? This is a crazy week for anime, good brother. So
yes, I did.
Stadia and anime, woohoo! All right, I'm all right.
Oh, Eddie, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, Brian. TGIF, guys.
TGIF, indeed. And Meg, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks.
And Shermani is out at the farm again tonight. He won't be with us tonight, but it'll be us five Avengers here. We're going to do our assembling together. But before we get into all of that, we'll be discussing all the new games that have arrived on Stadia over the last week or two. The Google Launch Night In event, which had Chromecast officially revealed, and even had a couple Stadia plugs within the event itself. And apparently everyone was wrong on guessing if Stadia would have any kind of presence. It wasn't really, like an exciting presence. It was just kind of showing it off the platform and with the Pixel and other things as well. And of course, we're going to talk about Crowd Choice, which just launched the other day, and much, much more. And then stay tuned to the after show where we'll talk about family sharing. We got some updates on family sharing and what we can expect for it, and maybe when we can expect it. And also, there's a couple founders out there in the world of Google Stadia's community that is just feeling even more frustrated as the days go on. So we'll talk about all of that in the after show, which is exclusive here to our YouTube viewers. But enough of me talking again. Let's talk about what we've been playing. I'm going to start off with Meg. Let's go the other way around. Meg, what have you been playing on Stadia over the last week or so?
So I finished Hitman. I played a lot of Hitman. And that game is fantastic. And in the next few days, I'm going to get the second one and then beat that one because it's so much fun. And then the last 2 days, I've been playing all the new pro games. Oh my God. I played Dead by Daylight, which was so much fun. And it turns out I'm actually like an actual psychopath. And I just premiered my video, and watching the difference between like me as a survivor and then me with an axe in my hand was actually like crazy. And my mom, I think, like,
I was a little mortified, Meg. I'm not gonna lie.
I know, like, I really just lost it. So fun. Anyways, that game is great, so I want to play more of it. And then, oh my God, you guys, I forgot to tell you, I played Celeste.
Finally.
Oh my God. Oh my God, it was the worst. It was the worst.
Ow!
It was absolutely the worst. I made on it. No, I'm muted. Unmute me. I made a video and I had to actually add the beep, like the beep words, because I was cursing at it. I'm so bad. Platformers are not my thing. I will not play again. And then I also checked out
Sorry.
Fall Flat Human. Did you hear that little sound? He just made me sound like Yoda. I played Human Fall Fat. Human Fall Fat. And that was a lot of fun. But definitely Dead by Daylight was my favorite. I love chopping people up and putting them on meat hooks. I never knew. So there you go. So that's me.
Perfect. Eddie, how about you, man?
Can I add a quote? I love chopping people up. Megatron X.
If I had a quote bot, it'd just be all things Meg says. Because I was like 5 things last time that we talked, and you're like, add this. Like, sorry, no quote bot. But
well,
Eddie.
contrary to Meg, I've been playing Celeste whenever I have a chance. That game is fantastic. It's a great platformer with a great Difficulty, it's not an easy platformer.
Correct.
It's a good platformer to play. So I've been playing Celeste, I think, about 1 hour or so of Celeste. Played Dead by Daylight. I've played Human Fall Flat with a multiplayer of I don't think I had 16 people, but I had maybe 12 or 13. It was awesome. The chaotic fun. And Fall Guys, whenever I have a chance. What else? And yeah, mostly Stadia and mobile phones.
What do you mean mobile phones?
No, like mobile games.
Oh,
Mobile
really?
Phones. Yeah.
What have you been playing on your phone?
What's Among Us?
Okay, fair enough. I thought you were gonna like throw out like Candy Crush or something like that. It's been a binge in Angry Birds lately, but MM2K, what have you been playing?
Well, for the usual suspects, Division. I'm gonna do the Summit Monday. I'm gonna risk the Summit. I'm gonna risk it.
Yes.
During the also, PGA 2K21. That's the liquid crack. Or digital crack, really. I don't want people to think I'm sipping my Stadia controller. But Risk of Rain 2, my God, that game is phenomenal. And I slept. I didn't realize how great that game was. And me and Storm, shout out to him. We tried something new during the Google launch night presentation. We had that playing in the background as we played Risk of Rain 2, and as they talked about Stadia, we flipped it. So it was something cool that we tried. But man, I highly recommend. It's $20 on sale for $20. I highly recommend Risk of Rain 2. Definitely worth every penny.
Good to hear. And that's the first on Stadia, right?
I don't know. It could no. I think it came out on PC a while ago, but I think it's hitting Stadia before consoles, and it has a Stadia exclusive area. So that's
awesome. Just reading your private chat, Chase. But what have you been playing lately? Wow, let me start over. What have you been playing lately, man?
Well, I just got done eating a sandwich. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Your commentary on it's kind of funny, but go ahead.
What did I play this week? So I played Rogue Company. I actually played with Meg and Jem and Lee.
Mm-hmm.
We hopped in the DeLorean. We went to 141.6 kilometers an hour instead of 88 miles per hour.
That's right.
It was a lot of fun.
No.
Yes.
They were doing conversions. I'm like,
No.
what the hell? I can't say
So
that.
bad. No.
No. Keep talking, Chase.
So played some Uno earlier in the week. I actually live streamed Dead by Daylight the other night through StreamYard using crowd choice, and it worked. Just not very well. But I have to say it was a lot of fun. So that's it. That's all I've been playing that I can think of in the moment, unless I've missed something.
Unless you miss it. Yeah, well, probably would cover it. As for me, it's been one of those weeks where it's every single day, and the only time I really had any time to play was yesterday. I played Dead by Daylight, a quick round of that. I can find myself getting really addicted to that game. I'm not a big horror fan, but there's just something, I don't know, very thrilling about it. I mean, I was sitting there doing a live stream of it, and I wasn't talking for like a minute because I was really trying to just focus and concentrate and run away from the killer. And it's very enthralling. I like it. Outside of that, I've been playing a lot of Avengers too, and being very frustrated and rage quitting that game because there's a very hard mission I'm still stuck on, and I'm very, very adamant about trying to get through it. But other than that, that's about all I've been playing as much as I can. So Stadia Pro continues to be one of the best values in gaming. I think we can all agree to that. I personally think the only one that can even close being in the conversation would be Game Pass. Do you guys have any disagreements with that statement?
Was that Stadia Pro?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more fair to match Stadia Pro versus its kin-like business model counterparts, which is PSN Plus and Xbox Live Gold. I know me and Chase, we had a very spirited conversation about comparing it to Game Pass, but I think what Google is trying to do is they're giving you some quality titles. They're locking it behind some sought after feature or features. And out of the 3 that are doing that, they're blowing it out of the water, as far as quality. Now, with exception to, well, I don't want to say exception to, but there is a rumor, PlayStation fans, that Bloodborne is going to be this month's free game. But so oddly enough, I don't see October's free games yet for PlayStation.
Here's the weird part. As far
It's
as
out already.
Oh, is it?
That, and Bloodborne was already a PlayStation Plus game.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But okay.
Yeah, so that's odd. But
That's
I mean,
odd.
yeah, it's I haven't been able to get into it. It's considered one of the best games that PlayStation has. So I mean,
yeah.
So-
exactly.
So you asked if you thought that it's in comparison. You said to Game Pass.
so do you think the most obvious comparison would be Game Pass in terms of best value to dollar?
No, I mean MM's right. If you look at the difference in the business models.
Well, I'm not talking about the business model, but like your value to dollar, like
Well, yeah,
how
I
much you're
mean,
getting out of it.
yeah. If you're just doing value proposition, then
That's
yeah,
all
I
I'm
mean,
talking about. Because
yeah.
the whole point was it continues to increase in value for you. Like
I
mean,
think
yeah,
it's up there, and I think it. Quite honestly, you can put it in the conversation because you own. When I say own, when you claim the games, they don't rotate out.
Exactly.
Like a Game Pass does. So I mean, you
Right.
have valid reasons to say that Pro itself is valued to a consumer because it's an optional pathway. So in that regard, absolutely.
All right. So speaking of Stadia Pro, we got 6 new games that showed up to us. 2 that were new to the platform, which Meg really needs to actually just hunker down and continue to play because it's the best game out there. Human Fall Flat, Jotun, Super Hot Mind Control, which was free if you bought the game a couple months ago, and now it's free if you just have Stadia Pro. Lara Croft, Temple of Osiris, that's an easy one to kind of predict. And we'll talk about our predictions too, because we all got something right, which has to be a record.
Yeah.
And then Dead by Daylight, of course. So before we get into those games, let's talk about the predictions here. So Chase, he went 3 for 3. Wait, did he? No, he didn't. I lied. So you said unannounced, but you also said Human Fall Flat. So
Yes.
I don't know if you can count that twice for that.
No,
But
I wouldn't.
Okay. All right. So you got Human Fall Flat and Dead by Daylight. So those are your 2. Meg only got 1, so she kind of cheated here, but she got the unannounced, which would be Human Fall Flat.
That's what I got unannounced.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that counts. That's
It
very
counts.
gracious.
High
Eddie,
five, man. I got the same.
Eddie did the same exact thing, so don't worry.
High five, Meg.
Oh, wait. Oh, yay! Cool. I like being down here.
And then and then Germani, I believe, won here because he had El Hijo, unannounced, Celeste, and Dead by Daylight. So he got 3 out of 4 correct there. And then myself, I went with 5 games, and then Celeste were unannounced were my 2 picks at 1. And then MM got Celeste and Lara Croft. So he was the only one to pick Lara Croft.
Did
So.
I do? Oh man,
Nice.
the liquor was nice that day, man.
It was.
Wow.
He doesn't even remember.
I forgot about Lara Croft.
Yeah. It's a fun game.
It was actually a good
Yeah.
shout.
Yeah. So well done there. So Chase, we'll start with you. Of those 6 games, Celeste, Human Fall Flat, and let me just bring up the little screen here. Human Fall Flat, Jotun, Dead by Daylight, Lara Croft, and Super Hot Mind Control Delete. Which one's your favorite out of these?
I mean, from what I've already played, it's Dead by Daylight. I played a little bit of it's Jotun, or I know people pronounce it different ways. I played a little bit of that. It's not my type of game. Human Fall Flat, I probably will give that a try over the weekend. I know what Celeste is, and I probably will play it at some point because I do like platformers. But it's not at the top of my list right now. I've got a lot of other games I'm trying to work through. But Dead by Daylight, I've talked about this before. My wife's brother is a huge fan of this game on the Xbox. And I've watched him play it many times. I've just never played it myself. And the first time I played it was doing that live stream the other day, and I was mortified. I'm not going to lie. Like the points of that game, I actually screamed a couple times because the person kept, like, I would see them go by and I'm like, oh, they're not going to be right there. And then all of a sudden they're like on you. It's like, what? How did they know where I was at? So, it does get, like, I will say, if you want a game that's going to get your adrenaline pumping, this game actually will do that. No questions asked. So yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, with crossplay attached, it's a good pick there. Cross progression should be showing up in the future, if I've read everything properly. So if you have been playing on other consoles or platforms, you should be able to eventually transfer your stuff over. MM2K, what's been your favorite so far? If you've had a chance to play them all.
This is going to sound weird because I just said I forgot about Lara Croft, but out of all those games, and I've only played I didn't even play Dead by Daylight. I got frustrated and left. But Lara Croft, I mean, just from what I saw of the game, it fits the isometric narrative that I love, like games from Van Helsing and other games like that, the Diablo type games and stuff like that, and the former Baldur's Gate. So even though I haven't played it yet, I say the one that I am looking most forward to is the one that I forgot I mentioned in my guess, which is Lara Croft. So I can't wait to get into that one.
Yeah, it's a fun story. It's about a 4 or 5 quick you run through it, but I definitely enjoyed my run through it. I picked it up when it came out. It's only like $10 at the time, but Meg, what has been your favorite of the 6?
Oh, Celeste, for sure.
Good girl, good pick.
Yes,
right.
Wonderful game, full of
good job,
loveliness.
Okay, what's your real pick, smart Alec?
Dead by Daylight, for sure. I chased Jem down, hacked him into pieces with my axe, put him on a hook, and then killed his friends and sacrificed them to the blood gods. And I sang a humming song the whole time. And I can't think of a better way.
The way you just described that is just terrifying. I don't even know what to say.
It was amazing. I can't think of a better way to spend an hour.
Oh my God.
You are really on a Halloween mood already, right, man?
I know. I don't like Halloween that much, but I guess I like being a psycho. So
well, then there you go. and your cuss here, you're not busy.
Does anybody have that pic that Meg took of herself while she was going to turn into Psycho Meg? Anyone got that pic?
Which one? Oh my God.
The one that you put out there on Twitter.
Oh, this is me going psycho. Oh my God. That was literally me with the axe and I was stabbing Jem. Oh my God. I went, oh yeah, it's fun. It's so fun. You just have to be a maniac. That game is amazing. That's all I have to say.
Eddie, how about you, man?
I didn't have much time with, I already had Jotun.
Yeah.
I already had Lara Croft on the PS4, and I've played Super Hot, not My Control Delete. I will be playing My Control Delete at any time. But Celeste, great platformer. Human Fall Flat surprised me. But I didn't have too much time to play. I want to play it more. I want to play it again. I want to play with 16 people all together. Maybe all of us screaming at each other. Then Dead by Daylight was great. It was great doing the live streaming of Dead by Daylight.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely going to talk about the crowd choice aspects of it too, because that's the biggest deal. And hold on, we got the screenshot here. My face as I slice up Jem Stadia with my axe.
Psycho killer.
I just need like the blood to splatter on my face
Exactly.
to like finish the effect.
Finish him.
And he was like live streaming and doing crowd choice, and I was literally like, start a new game and make me the killer. Like I just like busted in there and then I chopped him up. Like it was crazy. I don't know what happened.
So it wasn't crowd choice. It was you making the choice.
I was literally like, I don't care what you're doing. I'm gonna kill you. Oh my God, so much fun.
Speaking of crowd choice, let's talk about it. So we all, MM, were you able to do crowd choice yet?
Yeah, no, the old man came out at me and I started throwing my monitor. So you might want to defer to to Eddie. It was too frustrating for me, man. I'll shut up. You might want to defer to Eddie or Meg or whoever else was able to do it.
Okay, so if you happen to be brand new to Stadia and this may be your first time seeing all of us or listening to us, crowd choice is one of the features that Stadia was initially promoting when they announced Stadia back at GDC of 2019. And it allows users to integrate their game into YouTube. So when you're streaming a game, a choice will pop up on the screen. RPGs is a good example of this, and we'll see it next week with Baldur's Gate. But a game like Dead by Daylight, it'll populate the ability to let your audience pick if you're a survivor or as a killer or what specific character. So there's many things that people can choose from. I think it's going to be really awesome for an RPG like Baldur's Gate, but we can talk about that later. But it launched officially on October 1st with Dead by Daylight. Baldur's Gate 3 will be the next game in line to join the crowd choice market. I think a lot of other games can absolutely take advantage of this feature. And I think Eddie brought up like Mortal Kombat would be pretty cool to let people pick who you're going to be in the next match and stuff like that. So, Eddie, I believe you were the very first person to test crowd choice live. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm not sure if I was the very first one, but it was great. What I can say. I didn't like very much the way it sets up together with this game because I wanted to play this game with a group. And I wanted to be in a party.
Yep.
And on that party, I would run crowd choice and the viewers would select, am I the killer or am I a survivor? After the viewers select, if I'm not the killer, somebody else randomly picked the killer and I would be on the crowd choice. But anyway, the crowd choice feature integrated very well for me. I believe the way that you select the option on chat works fantastic. The other part where there is another part where on this game, you select the crowd choice by clicking on the poll on YouTube. And then when you select the character, you got to type the name of the character over YouTube.
Yes.
The characters' names on Dead by Daylight can be long.
Yeah.
And can be not easy to type. And one thing to highlight, it is mandatory that is case sensitive.
Really?
So you gotta, like, if somebody is, you want to be the killer nurse, somebody gotta type the nurse case sensitive.
How'd you find that out?
I was spamming Jen's chat, trying, and it didn't work.
Well, if it was...
So, for example, Jen was he was running crowd choice to decide which was gonna be his character, and I start spamming Jack, and it was some blah 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 Jack. I don't remember the name of the guy, and that didn't work. But once I spammed, like, copying and pasting multiple times a single name from the list over there, and I overrule everyone who was in chat, that worked.
So you can get multiple votes per person? Is that what you're saying?
Right. It's the number of votes.
How'd you find
it's
that
the number
out?
of times that name appears in a YouTube chat while the crowd choice is running.
How'd you figure that out?
Testing?
Yeah. I had it happen to me. I can confirm that's what happened because I was playing and I watched someone do it. They put it in 5 times and it was only 5 that was versus a couple other people, and it chose that because they spammed it. I think that's wrong, by the way. They need to lock that to just one vote per viewer.
That's literally the whole point. Sorry.
The whole point of the queue, it is 1 vote per viewer.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of having it in chat.
I'm sorry, I said queue when I meant to say poll. When you have the poll, it's 1 vote per viewer. But now when you have a selection that is right now typing a text, which, by the way, is the 2 ways that you can integrate crowd choice, either by text or by the YouTube poll. Spam works. I'm not sure still if I can say it's broken. I understand that's the way they designed it, and I don't have anything to complain regarding spamming making the results.
There's stuff in the ballot box, man. Maybe didn't deserve to be picked. I'm just saying.
Even my
Which, by the way, with this game, it's important to highlight that once the spamming finishes, and the crew select with the crowd select who you're gonna be playing with, you can still overrule. They're just saying, okay, so we have 5 characters. Crowd choice is enabled. The crowd select character A. You say, no, I don't want to be playing with character A. We're gonna go with character B. So you can overrule.
I wonder if that'll work the same for Baldur's Gate. So if someone says, like, hey, say something stupid, but you want to do like serious, like.
I think that is to avoid trolls, like either trolls by spamming,
Sure.
or trolls by I don't know, maybe on the if you have trolls doing the poll, I think that's bad for you. But that's why I understand and I believe. I'm curious to see very much how it's going to be with Baldur's Gate, if it's going to be text based or if it's going to be chat based on poll based.
Sure.
If it's text based, I feel like that could be it, just because of the integration with Twitch as well. I don't think they would be delivering something.
Well, okay. All right. Well, you're talking about the Baldur's Gate choices?
Yeah.
Okay. You think it'll be text based?
I think that maybe.
So it might be like a 1, 2, 3, 4 option, because there's no way you're going to be typing an entire line of dialogue.
Yeah, type A, B, C, or D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm saying that just because.
I hope not.
I'm saying that just because during the panel from Hell, they did like that over Twitch, and they were already testing that feature.
I mean, obviously we won't know until Tuesday, but
right.
Yeah. So I mean, Twitch. But Meg, did you do crowd choice yet?
No, sadly, streaming is a dream that I cannot yet achieve. But someday I will be able to, and then it's going to be amazing. But if that's true, that chat can just spam what they want until they get what they want, then that's not. I will use my chat bot, because even my chat bot, which is like, I named it, and it's old and very finicky and hardly ever works. She still doesn't let one person vote more than once. One vote, one ballot, what's the saying?
Megabot's gonna come. Shut up, you're spamming.
Yeah, stop it. Shut up. Ban.
Yeah.
So, like, and I'm getting rid of the ban hammer. I'm getting a ban axe. I'm going to start axing people. So, yeah, but I will say that I do like the vote for killer or survivor. That is a button, and that works. So I did I like that. I saw it. I didn't do it, but I saw it. And that works great. Right? Huh? Anybody? No? I thought so. So, but then the picking which survivor, which killer, that was trash. But the actual, like, the 1 or 2 option, that was cool. I like how it popped up in chat. People said it even worked on mobile. I mean, that's great.
Yeah,
exactly. So Chris over at Sound, Meg does a Jim Halpert. So Chris over at Sounds of Stadia is asking if any of us had trouble linking our YouTube to Stadia, because this was a problem for some people. Mia's pretty easy because I use the same account. But Chase, can you speak to having trouble?
Yeah, let Chase smack his cane first. I'll go right after my walker. I'll go right after my walker.
It was a literal nightmare. I mean, I don't even know how else I can.
That's another game.
Yeah, well, that probably is. And I probably debuted in it, and I don't want to be part of it. It was a nightmare. You know, look, for someone that has done YouTube before, I've always kept my account separate. I keep my personal account in one, and whatever I do that's streaming in another, because you don't want to have the two tied. Heaven forbid something gets blocked, banned. You never know. You just don't want to have that happen. So when I set the YouTube account up, I never set it up as a brand account. I never had the intent of doing that, because that implies that you link one account to another and then have the separate brand. Well, in order to make all of this work, I will try to simplify this. You had to go into the YouTube account where you had your YouTube channel, create a separate brand account, merge that account to the brand account. Once it was merged to the brand account, then you had to go over to your Stadia account, which has your personal information, make it the manager of the brand account. Oh, and then magically you have YouTube streaming. God, Google, I'm actually, let me back up. That's not Google. Stadia team, because you're developing. What were you thinking? Like, you could have made this so much easier where you just enter in credentials, put your freaking password in, and link the damn account. It's not hard. I don't understand why this had to be more difficult than it is. And there's people that they don't want to go through the hassle of this. It was extremely frustrating. And the crazy part is, after I got out of that, the experience, I had a lot of fun doing it and doing crowd choice.
Yeah.
But the lead up to it was painful. Extremely painful.
You shouldn't have to go to those links. Like, I mean, when it comes to like maybe you're having connection issues with Stadia, like sometimes you have to go some weird lengths to make it work a lot better than it should. So I mean, like again, that's just another like accessibility thing. Like it should be much simpler. Like you said, just log in. If it's your same account, cool. Should populate like it did mine. It showed my 2 channels and I clicked one and bam, I was ready to go. But for someone like you that has a separate account for Stadia and one for YouTube, you should be able to have an option to literally click log in with a different account.
And especially, just real quick, especially if you have like on Chromebooks, for example, or Chrome OS, you can have multiple accounts managed under one profile where you log into that other account and you can switch accounts.
Yep.
They could do this. Like this isn't, we're not talking like rocket science with APIs here. And that's what frustrates me with some of this stuff is it's all short-term gains that eventually piss people off rather than just doing the most simplistic thing in the world. And I don't understand what the logic is behind some of this stuff. And again, I know I'm not a programmer. I don't pretend to be. But at a certain point, you got to make it simple for a streamer. Like this is if Meg tried to go in and do this and she had to go through all those pain points, I'm just using Meg as an example. I could easily see somebody go, you know what, I'm done. And then they just walk away because they just don't want to deal with the hassle of having to make all that stuff work. Especially there was no guidance on how to do this stuff. We found out internally. We figured it out by trial and error. That's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
And think of maybe like a brand new person starting like streaming and stuff like that. Like all of us, maybe we are a little more attuned to it. And we can kind of walk through all these different kind of steps and all these different hurdles. But someone brand new, maybe like some 19-year-old kid's like wanting to stream on Stadia, but he has 2 accounts for whatever reason. And he's getting through a struggle. Like it should be insane. And when it becomes direct to streaming on YouTube, it might make it even harder. So we'll see how it goes. But Chase, crowd choice itself, how did you like it once you got it all set up?
No, it ran really well. Like I said, StreamYard is not great for doing that. I only did it because I wanted to connect with the community and interact and try it out. More so just so I could talk about it here and I wanted to have the experience.
Yeah.
I will say one thing that I didn't like about it, and then I will talk about actually there's 2 things and then there's 2 positives. So I'll give 2 and 2. Let me start with the good. So the choice that Meg was talking about with the killer and the survivor, it's seamless. It works really well. There's no problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have one failure with the amount of times that I used it. I do as a gamer and as someone that would be coming into someone's stream would be extremely pissed off people spamming the chat with the choices for the name of the killer. That's not cool. They got to fix that. That's not acceptable. And I don't think streamers are going to be happy with that either. I know you're making a face, Eddie, but
just because you said that's not acceptable. Well, I accept but anyway, please finish. Sorry.
I'll back up. Let me say it this way. I don't think it's cool. But that's coming from me as the gamer. I don't think that's a cool pathway. On the other part with what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah. So when it highlights inside the box, it's very defined. So like there's no mistake. You're not going to not know what they chose. You know, that makes things really, really good. Now the not so good things, I just said one of them was the spamming. The other one was trying to set this up. You have to go back and forth so many times. And I wish they just made it simpler where you didn't have to go into your YouTube, highlight that, go back, then back again. It just was a lot of back and forth motions that I think just don't need to happen necessarily.
Yeah.
So again, from a usability standpoint, I wasn't necessarily thrilled about that. My biggest complaint was that spamming thing. But again, that Eddie's right. I'm not saying that that's not acceptable holistically. I'm saying that is my viewpoint as the gamer. I don't think it's cool.
Fair enough. MM2K, did you have interactions with people that were streaming crowd choice?
Let me oil up my walker so I can chuck it at the YouTube offices.
Yelling at the cloud.
Yeah, dude. My stream of trying to do this, and I understand where Eddie's coming from. I do, but my stream of doing this is basically me. Homer's dad yelling at the cloud. It's literally me saying, I have 25 plus years. I mean, I went off. I like zoned out. I have 20 plus years of experience of writing procedures. And it was a bunch of bibble babble trying to go through the source documents and trying to figure this out. And then when you go to the, what do you call it? When you go to the YouTubers that specialize in this, you get to a point to where they're like, okay, now hold on. I want you to listen very carefully. Don't breathe in. Don't exhale too hard because you might delete your YouTube account. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? I mean, something like I get.
I know which video you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I get the organic marketing, Eddie, right? But in chat, but my problem is something like that. That's potentially that's scary.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just going to say it like this. Google got to rework its source docs. They really do. They're not user friendly. And Lloyd, in 2 tweets and 3 sentences, better explained how to do this. Lloyd of Stadia Cast, shout out to him in the show. Explain it better in 3 sentences than Google did in like 9 paragraphs. So that's bad. Secondly, I agree with Chase on the simple fact that if right now I have several channels that I manage. Yeah. So if I would switch from Stadia Dosage and go to MM2K, it's just a click of 3 buttons. Why can't it be that simple in this stream link? You know what I mean? Like Chase said, because they're different channels. They could be under different brands or whatever. Why, if you can take my credentials of different accounts and let me go into YouTube any other way, why not here? I don't know. Again, I'm not a programmer either, but I don't know. So it's just some food for thought. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean to them, but definitely they do have to rework their source documents. They're not easy to follow, and especially something like that could potentially delete your account. And also, I do think that ultimately what they're going to want to do for this is make it easier for you to refer another account that you want to link to. Just do it the same way, as easy as I can to switch a YouTube channel. It should be as easy for me to link it in Stadia. So those are my friendly thoughts.
Absolutely. Let me play Brian.
No, go right, Eddie.
They weren't there.
No, you're fine.
Let me play developer's advocate here, just because I'm a scrum master and that's what I do.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I'm glad someone got the reference. But
I got it.
Here is the deal.
I got it, Eddie.
I understood that. I was waiting for him to say it. I was waiting for Brian to say Captain.
I got what you said. I'm sorry.
But here's the deal. And Brian, if you allow me to share screen as well. Yep. First of all, Google screwed up by not putting documentation on how to link branded accounts if you have a different YouTube account. There is a link over there, but that link, it's out of date. Doesn't work, period. Now, when you go and open Dead by Daylight and you click here on use your stream software, but there is another option here which says about live streaming, and that opens a documentation. That documentation right now, by the URL, you see that is more than crowd choice. It's talk about live streaming. But right now, since it's the only feature they put it available, they only put the documentation available for crowd choice. A very limited and simple documentation. They're talking about OBS still, but it's very basic. This information, it's not complete. What Google will do once they release crowd play and other things, they will update this page with more info, but still there are more documentations to be written. Something just as we were talking about, if I have a YouTube account, which is different than my Stadia account, they need to have a better documentation on that.
Yeah, I see it like this, Eddie. 4 hyperlinks. One that says crowd play, crowd choice, YouTube stream, and linking brand accounts. You know what I mean? Separated like that. You click on the hyperlink, and it gives you nice, well-placed font, comprehensive paragraphs, short paragraphs.
Paragraphs and screenshots.
Yeah, exactly.
So you click here, you're going to do this, and then there's going to be another screenshot. There's a step by on the industry, we call that SOP, or standard operation procedure. And that needs to exist. That's a basic documentation. I know Agile development talks much more about less code and more code and less documentation, but less documentation is different than no documentation, and there was no documentation on this.
And I get it that they don't want to put pictures in there, Eddie, because that means they got to update them as they update, the GUI and everything. But it's just something that you got to do. You hired someone. I mean, we did stuff for clients that can more comprehensively understand stuff, and we had to hire someone that just updated, or we called them knowledge source procedures. They just updated our process. That's all, and that's all they did all day because it's an all-day job. So you just hire 2 people to do this across Google, and you put
interns.
Yep. Yeah. Interns. Yep. And just put pictures in there. It makes it so more comprehensive 1,000 times over. Google. Okay, I'm done shaking my fist. My arthritis is setting in.
Damn you, clouds!
Yeah.
Damn you. So before we move on, we did have some questions, but before that, our good friend Ray, one of the greatest members of this community, dropped a $20 super chat. It says, Stadians, I love you. If you're looking for a little pick-me-up, Ray is always the person to go to. He's very, very enthusiastic about not just Stadia, but gaming in general. He's playing literally every single game that ever comes out. Like, seriously, every single game. But we also had some questions regarding crowd choice and just streaming in general. So Victor says, my question about this new live stream is, why should my rig host the apps when it makes more sense for that to be at the server edge node level?
Hold on.
Just haven't launched that feature yet.
I have a lot to say about
I
this.
I figured the folks next to me would have something to say. So,
I have a
Chaser
lot
MM,
to say
coin
about
costs.
this.
You guys can go ahead and pick it.
Go ahead, Chase. Go ahead.
I'm not a programmer. I don't pretend to be, but I will tell you that all they're doing is sending what is on the blade to YouTube and taking your voice from the game to YouTube. It's not hard. And I listen, I know what their initial focus was. Their initial focus was, and we heard it from John Justice last year. If you remember when they did the interview with StadiaCast, he said, oh, you want to have live streaming? We just want to plug into what you already have. Almost acting surprised as though that's something that we wanted. I don't know if that really was the case, or he was just acting, kind of, what's the word where it's like, kind of warm, cold kind of a thing. Yeah. So, but either way, here's where my frustration is on it. And it's actually in a different lens. The more people that streaming Stadia, it's more advertising. It's more eyes on this thing. And there's people that don't have PCs like me, or in Meg's situation, doesn't have the internet speed where you can live stream with the upload speed. It happens. And they could have more eyes on this thing. One of the things that, to MM's credit, I am more of a traditional marketing person. I think that traditional marketing is still important in this day and age, but you can't discount that would then give you what other type of marketing? The word of mouth type of marketing. Absolutely. That puts it out into social media. They're really missing an opportunity here. Again, if it was me and I'm looking at their whiteboard, make that up to like the top 5 and get that going. Even if all these features aren't ready, you can still live stream. Let people see Stadia. Like that's... It just, again, my mind works more about marketing and exposure campaigns. They have an opportunity here to do that. So that's just my 2 cents.
Here's what I think is actually going on. And we're going to touch on this a little bit later too. But I think that, to Eddie's point, that he pulled up something very prevalent here, is that I think that the infrastructure of YouTube and some of these other things, Stadia, I don't want to say it's roughshod because I love the platform and it's just doing a lot of great techie things and stuff like that. But it seems like that Stadia was kind of pushed along because the development phase of it was so long, opposed to where Google and GFN, they may have had like more time at their leisure. So when you try to bring all these outside entities in the periphery, it's a little bit more roughshod to where, okay, like for prime example with Amazon, Amazon's integration with Twitch doesn't seem like it's going to go through these complications to where YouTube might be experiencing this stuff again, because they didn't come to a decent realization of what they could do with Stadia and YouTube until 2019. And again, I'm not making excuses. I'm just, trying to talk the dev part of it out. With that being said, I truly think that this wasn't supposed to come until a little bit later, because we're seeing some things come later. They were still working those things out. And I think Amazon could have probably threw a monkey wrench into that. And the fact that the possibility of Amazon having their Twitch integration before they did with Baldur's Gate, and they funded Baldur's Gate, could have threw this out maybe a little bit earlier than they originally anticipated. So that's what I'm guessing may be going on here, and hopefully it'll get ironed out. But I just thought I would throw that out there to think about and digest.
I was gonna ask MM to take something from the chat that I put in there, but I was just gonna say, I just want to be clear about something to put context. When I was saying what I was saying about the YouTube live streaming, it's not completely on Stadia. So they do some of the development, but we also have to give shared blame to YouTube. So it's an equal parts type of thing. So I just wanted to make sure that I put very clear guidelines and very clear, almost like what is it when you go bowling? What are the things? The bumpers? Is that what they're called?
The little guardrails. Yeah,
the guardrails, so that it's very clear where I'm coming from on that. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie or Meg or Brian. I mean, what do you guys think about that? You guys, because that's what it seems like to me. It seems like when you look at Fire TV, and I hate to go off the script here, but when you look at the Fire TV, Amazon's been doing this for a while. The Twitch thing, they've been doing this for a while. It seems like that, oh man, we could do this gaming platform and do this, that, and the other. And the foundations of the things on the periphery just didn't fit well. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Okay, I have something to say. I want this feature more than anybody. I'm sorry, but I want this so bad because I love streaming and I can't, and I'm so sad. Yeah. However, I bet Google wants it even more. I bet Stadia wants it even more. And I know it sounds simple, but it is not that simple. It took me literal months to get my stream working the way I wanted it to on YouTube. So if they have to take the time that they need to get it working right, so that when they give it to me, it works and I can just do it, then I'm willing to wait, because I almost quit so many times figuring out how to stream and getting everything set up right, and then thinking it was working, and then going to other people's streams and theirs looked better, and I wanted mine to look better, and then changing things and it didn't work. And I literally was angry every single stream for like weeks because nothing could work the way I wanted it to. So if they need to take their sweet time, what is this? It's not that simple. If they need to take their time to get it to work, then fine. And if they wanted to launch crowd choice to test the whatever, because they put the button there and it's grayed out, and do you know how frustrating it is to see that stupid button grayed out and knowing that if I could just click it, I could go live? So if they want to take their time, then I'm willing to wait, and that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, great point. And that's why I was saying, I think I don't think it's like something like they're like, yeah, we're gonna play hacky sack for a little bit. I just think that there might be some complications there that they didn't have as much time to work on, maybe like an Amazon did when it comes to it. I just, but that's an excellent point.
Yeah, I think it's just surprising that we're this far removed from the initial announcement. You think it would be available at this point? So what is that like?
The only thing I wanted to add to that though is they're not having to take your local stream though. That live stream feature would be pulling the instance from the blade.
I know. And that's why I was saying that when it does happen, my stream viewers will see a better, higher resolution than I can see. Because I'll still be playing in 720p, but all you guys will see 1080 or 4K or whatever Stadia is going to let us have at that time. So watching my stream will actually be better looking than actually playing it here where I am in a field. So I hope. I mean, it could be any minute. It's going to be so great. It probably won't work.
Compression is myself, the other day I was streaming Avengers and I stopped to look at my live stream. I put it on 1080 60 and it was garbage compared to what I was watching on my monitor. And I said, no, compression, it's for sure. So whenever we have this feature, I agree it's going to be just as Meg is saying. We're going to get the best version of the game directly on YouTube. And as Brian said, software development is not that easy. Testing is not that easy, especially when you are dealing with different business units in a single enterprise. What is a priority for some may not be a priority for others. And talking about priorities as well. It's all about team sizes and priorities. We don't know the size of the team on Stadia. Maybe they don't have that much people to go family sharing or YouTube integration. Which one do we prioritize? So that's it. Oh, sorry. Wrong mute button.
He didn't swear, guys. He just pressed the button. So for our esteemed YouTube viewers, we got an edit of one of Meg's pictures here.
Who did that? Yeah.
Oh,
I gotta frame that.
And we just got demonetized. All right, moving on to our next topic of conversation. We got a lot of games to look forward to in October, and September has been viewed as a very positive month for Stadia, I would think, overall, in terms of new games and just new stuff coming out. But let's take a look at what we're to expect in the month of October, if we may, real quick. Now, where's the upcoming list down here? So Baldur's Gate 3, let's just start with the big one right away. So it should have been out the other day, but it got delayed by a week, which is a weird delay. It was 2 weeks ago we got the announcement that was going to be pushed back another week. I don't know what additionally needs to be done that can only take a week, but go ahead, Chase.
Oh, I know.
So we got some word on something. You were talking about Baldur's Gate, right? My ears were ringing.
No, I was talking about
Cake Bash.
We did get some news that this may actually make me not get the game to start. I have to be very honest. The controller is going to be very much in beta, and I thought they would be further along than they are. So the functionality may not actually be.
Now, to be fair, you were expecting this, like, because we had talked about this specific subject a couple months ago, because I was asking early access for Divinity Sins, did they allow controller support? And I think you were talking about it was just keyboard and mouse at that point. So
yeah, but the concern that what I had said was that I thought that they would still implement controller by this point to where we'd be able to at least test, not that they were much earlier along where they're at possibly now. So I have to really think about it, because again, I don't have a really good PC setup here to be playing this game like that. Yeah. So that's my concern.
Whoa. So see if I got this right. Make sure that it's not, I didn't OD on Metamucil here.
No, you're good. You're good.
Are you telling me that there's not going to, this is going to not launch with controller support? Is that what you said?
It is, but with very, very limited functionality, and I don't even know what that means.
What the hell that even means? Yeah.
I think the idea is that don't expect it to be perfect. It's still much a beta state. You should be able to use a controller, but if things go, haywire.
The loose language they use was not comforting. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I really that's the best way I can put it. I was hoping they would say controller works, but maybe certain elements within the game weren't accessible.
Now,
not without the controller.
Yeah, it's a little worrying. That's all. I'm not trying to make it bigger than it is. It's just for me. I'm just speaking for me.
So when it comes to developing, shouldn't that be one of the very first things you're working on? Is how you actually input things?
I don't fault them per se, only because I realize that the game was really truly intended for PC. Like, this is a new frontier that they're going into.
Yep.
But what I will say is that I had expected, with the amount of time that they have moved this back, because I think they purposely moved it back for both benchmarks, both PC and the Stadia side, that they would have this in a state where it was at least basic functionality, is the best way I can say it. And again, it may be there. We may be surprised. They may have just said that to be careful, that in case they got to the date that, if things are a little haywire, that they've got a little bit of a cushion. I don't know. So I just don't know what to think of it yet. It's just the language that wasn't comforting is all.
So yeah, the language, speaking of, Anders just posted, this is a copy and paste, because I remember reading this. Stadia features a beta version of controller support, but we suggest playing with the mouse and keyboard if you can for now, while we fine tune the controller for the future. So that's your...
See, I find that completely reasonable. It's early access game. They haven't got everything figured out. They're saying, listen, we want to bring you the game. We want you to experience it. They probably develop it on mouse and keyboard, so that's what's most readily available. And they got to work out the fine details. I'm sure there's 1,000 things like that they got to work out. Also, sorry. Okay, Chase, I see you have something to say. Okay.
No, I said that's just for me. I wasn't speaking for everybody.
My Abbott and Costello routine with him was not because I think it's horrible, per se. It's fathomable, like you said, Meg, because if this thing was just releasing on Steam, it would classify under keyboard and mouse support or very partial controller support. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's understandable. It's just for me, I'm like a vegan in a rib shop when it comes to a keyboard and mouse. I have no business touching it. I have no business touching it. So if this is keyboard and mouse, then I'm going to be sad because I'm going to have to wait until you know what I mean? But we'll see. We'll see.
So you wouldn't be playing if it's keyboard and mouse only?
No, I can't. No. And my son laughs at me, all the time, but I am horrible playing games on keyboard and mouse. It's like the very first time you were on your controller and you're looking at every single key and you're like, I want to move right. Where's the right analog? It's bad. It's very bad.
Maybe you should invert. I have to invert my controllers. It's a big downer.
Yeah.
Are you left-handed?
No, I'm just a weirdo.
When you say, all right, let me re-ask the question. So when you say invert, so you're saying like if you press down, it goes up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. I mean, a lot of people play games like that, but so Baldur's Gate 3. Let's just go through the room here. Are we picking it up next Tuesday? Chase, I think you're going to be a yes. Maybe with the controller support.
I want to see what they say between now and next Tuesday.
I think this is going to be it, man. This is all right, folks. This is literally the game Chase has been waiting for over a year, and he said, "I don't know if I'm going to pick it up on day one."
What?
Well, I understand. It's just I had hoped again, and I just don't want people. And Meg, I apologize to you. I wasn't trying to interrupt. I was trying to point to myself, like I'm just speaking for me. I trust me. This is one of the hardest decisions of my life. You do not understand how much I've been wanting to play this game, but this language for me is not comforting. I really thought that they would be a little bit further along. And my hope is, this is what I want to do, is my hope is that we get to next week and people start playing it and I see what their experience is and things are okay. If they are, I will pick it up. If it's not, I'm probably going to hold off.
Because things are okay.
If there's like controller breaking functionality issues where it makes the game at certain points not playable, that's going to be a no-go for me in the moment.
When you're saying controller break functionalities, you're talking about the controller itself or the gameplay itself?
The gameplay based off of your inputs. So if there's functionality issues within the game from the inputs, that's and the thing is, here's the other thing that I was thinking about today when I read this. We're not dealing with a traditional console here, right? This is sending inputs over the internet to the data center through an internet connection. There could be a lot of things that the reason they're saying this is because like the predictive stuff that Stadia does with the game, on the back end, maybe some of that stuff's not in line. Maybe it's not fully where it needs to be. I don't know. Again, I'm not a programmer. I'm just trying to be. I see Eddie making a face. Look, man, I can only tell you what's in my heart. Okay, I can't.
All right, I'll stop making faces.
I can't lie, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Steam controller. So I was one of the lucky ones that got one for $5. So I'll give that a shot. And if I can map it right and it feels good, then I'll go with it. But but similar to Chase, I won't say exactly like I want to buy this thing as soon as possible. So I might wait like a couple hours because the thing to consider is this is going to be early access. Yeah. So if all else fails, I don't think you can get a refund on this. You know what I mean? I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So
and that's the other thing, MM, that I was thinking about is, God, I don't want to be this person. I'm so sorry. I'm just concerned.
Jake's not to cut you off, but no. Look, and nobody, and look, I'll fall on the sword, and we'll deal with it. But and people know that I'm very positive about the platform, so I'll down the sword and say this. But I bought Serious Sam last week, and I was very dismayed to find out that there were no 60 frames per second mode in a Twitch shooter. And I did put something in the Stadia Founders thing very politely and say, hey, it'd be nice if, you could, put the frames per second and the resolution modes together. But that's different. I got my money back. They were very speedy and expeditious with giving me my money back. If I run into a situation where I'm paying $60 and I know I'm horrible on keyboard and mouse and I want to play on controller and I can't get my money back, well, then my message might be a question.
Did you have to play more than 2 hours of Serious Sam?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay, so you get the money back just like the standard refund, right?
Yeah, standard refund. Yeah.
Okay, so and Chase, you're talking about getting the money back after the standard refund?
I'm not even talking about a refund.
Because you said money back.
Well, no, I mentioned that, Eddie, because it's early access, and with early access, I think the rules are different. Like they don't,
you don't get your money back.
You the 2 hour thing. You might is like.
I didn't know that, and I don't think that is true.
So I'll go by Ember and test that theory.
I tested Ember. I played for about an hour, and I got my money back.
Oh, well, that's the case.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, I mean, I think early access is literally probably just denoted by a title. Like, I don't think it's actually like integrated as like a set thing.
Set
you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay, if that's the case, then all right, then I'll buy it straight out, and if it doesn't work, I'll just send it back till it does. But again, that's us. That's us. We're the outliers. Like, if you guys can play keyboard and mouse, or if you feel like you can do it, swing it however you can, go ahead and do it. This is going to be a huge game for the platform. A lot of people looking forward to it. Do not let us Debbie Downers mess up your mood.
Guys, remember that the developers said, their guys on their Twitter said that this is early access, and if you are waiting for a complete polished experience, this early access not for you.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that it's $60.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't expect that, but if you can't even, if there's issues with the controller and inputs, that's beyond even that, man.
Or user end issues, rather, just to be fair, just so we're not pissing in anyone's Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you're right.
To be fair, if you are old fogies like me and Chase, and you can't use keyboard and mouse, that's a user end issue. It ain't an issue with the game. You may want to, you may just be ready that it might not be ready for you right then and there. But what Eddie brings up is a valid point that overall, if you're looking for the most polished game, that's not fair. That's not fair.
And I agree with that too.
No, it's not.
A doggy.
We got a
Is it a dog? Oh my god. It's a pug. What's his name? Is it Doug?
No, this is Arya. She's a good girl.
Oh my god.
What am I doing here?
She's like just paralyzed. Oh, did she lick your face?
So
oh my god, precious.
Cake Bash is the next item up for bid.
Oh, but wait, I had something to say about Baldur's Gate.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Go ahead.
First of all, Chase, how could you betray me? You're the one who made me excited this game. I didn't want to play it because it was turn-based, and you were so excited it infected me, and then I was excited, and I've been following it, and I can't wait, and then I'm going to play and not even have you come along, and Eddie and I will be laughing.
Okay.
We'll be having so much fun.
So, Meg, just for you, I will buy it.
Yes.
You literally just went back on your entire
He's
spiel.
like,
because
and then he's
Meg,
like, all right, I'll get it.
Meg guilted me and shamed me.
I guilted him. And he found out he can just return it if he doesn't like it. So double entendre. And also, when they delayed it, they said that they have a super world tester playing through the entire game at lightning speed to push it to its limits. How cool is that? So by the time it gets here, it's going to be great. But still early access. But they are testing it hardcore. And I just love to think of that world tester going at light speed, trying to break the game, doing all the quests and trying to mess it up as quick as possible. I just think that is so cool. And I can't wait for 4 days from now when it releases.
Holy crap, it's 4 days.
That's it. I tried to say it as quick as possible.
Speed. All right. So Cake Bash. Let's talk about the most anticipated game of the year. This is a weird game, by the way, because this is a coaching game, right?
Yep.
And
that
like
and the
leaked as Stadia, coming to Stadia, and they're like, no, it's not coming to Stadia. And oh wait, coming to Stadia. Sorry, I just
surprise! Psych, it's on Stadia.
Cake Bash. I mean, I'll be honest. Party games don't do nothing for me personally. What about you guys? Does something like Cake Bash entertain you? MM2K, I'm going to start with you because I don't think this is going to be your style of game either.
I was going to say, what you're starting with me because I sound like I like cake or something? No.
No.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Brian.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm eating one right now.
You're 1,000% right. Yeah, but I've heard great things about the game. I there was a time period where Rockstar was my life. Rockstar the game, or no, Guitar Hero I meant was my life. So I get the idea of party games, but chasing candy, confetti, and icing. Nah, it's not gonna be me.
God, Rockman. Yeah, you got to bring up Rockman. It's literally probably my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
I love that game. But Meg, is Cake Bash something you're going to be interested in, or is it just one of those games? Just cool. It's filling out the platform.
It'll be fun. I'll play it. I'll try it and play it, and I bet it will be fun. But I don't get really into these types of like little party games. I play them with you guys a few times, and then I move on to what I really love, which is like adventure or action or other different types of games that you can sink like hours into. So I hear good things about it, and like people are excited for this game. So it makes me think it's going to be fun to have, but I don't think it's going to like bring people into Stadia in droves to play Cake Bash, but I'm still excited to check it out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Eddie, how about you?
Different from Mega, I like party games. I would be playing this for sure. Will I get it day one? Maybe. Just because right now I have other party games available. So I'll get it day one, give it a try, and decide depending on the price if I would keep it or not. Yeah, basically that's it. Party games rock.
Yeah, I mean, the last party game I played was when we did that video with me, you, and Meg. So I mean, like, that was the one and only time I played Get Packed, and I'm like, it's fun with you guys, but I'm like, outside of that, I'm like, I'm not really itching to like go after and say, hey, do you guys want to play this game or whatever? It's not my style of game, personally.
Yeah, it's most likely because the day I received some friends at home, I saw, okay, let's try to play some party games. And I didn't have any 4 players party game at home that would caught attention. Like there was nothing like a Super Mario Party, for example.
That's like the exclusion. Like Mario Party is pretty cool, but again, I mean, even that, I mean, I haven't picked up Super Mario Party for the Switch. It's just Mario Kart's like the closest party game. If you want to be, but I mean, it's just party games just don't do anything for me personally. Chase, how about you? Is party games in your wheelhouse at all?
So he's the guy who was playing Uno a lot.
That's a board game. That's
a board game, though. It's like Monopoly. It's not a party game. No, I mean, I'm not. I don't. I feel bad because
Logic,
I do.
right, Meg?
I know, right? Eddie and I were like, what?
I mean, it's just, to me, it's a different genre. I think I think of party games as like Get Packed and this game and
Spitlings.
That would be another one. Or what's the one that's out right now? Geez, I can't even think of it. Fall Guys, right?
Human Fall Flat is a party game.
Yeah. So those types of styles of games, that's just not. It's not in my wheelhouse. But I respect people that like them. It doesn't, just because I don't like it doesn't mean that somebody else shouldn't. And it's the same type of conversation we have like about indie games. People give indie games a bad rap when I think it's not fair. And it comes down to preference. So it's just not my preference. I just don't have any interest in it. But kudos to those that do.
Kudos. All right, so I have a question about the next game on this list, which is Watch Dogs Legion. This is I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the first day-and-date Ubisoft game we've gotten since the platform was launched. All right? Okay.
Yep.
Does Uplay Plus show up with this?
Oh, God, man, why did you have to ask this question?
I'm
just gonna mute. I'm gonna mute.
I'll take the lead on this. I would say, yeah. I think that I think it's going to happen. The only reason why I'm going to say that is I think Amazon might push this a little bit further. I think what we're kind of seeing, not so much all the way, but what we're kind of seeing with Google is at this phase of the game, they only deviate from their plans when they feel like they have to. And even though Amazon Luna is only in a limited beta phase, so meaning that it's going to be limited and everybody's not going to be able to get their hands on this thing, whether they sign up or not. I think it looks bad enough. This is one of those things that look bad enough. I presume, could be wrong, but it's going to look bad enough if it's available there before it's available here. So I think it's going to launch here. Expected likely this month. Well, you know what? I know I'm all over the place on this one. I don't know when we're expecting the Uplay channel or the Ubisoft channel on Amazon. If the Ubisoft channel on Amazon,
I can answer that, MM. That
When
Ubisoft channel, it's gonna be available for Valhalla.
Okay. Well, then I just bloviated for 10 minutes for no reason. Did I take that back? Did I take that back? I thought it was coming this month, but I take that back. Nope, don't see it this month.
Let me. Are we sure?
Yes, we are sure.
No, you're sure there's not going to be any other Ubisoft games on that channel at that time?
What I'm sure it is the Ubisoft channel launches together
November 10th. Yep.
In November. No, not launch together. So what they have been very clear is that the Ubisoft channel over Luna will be available for Valhalla.
So Chase is asking if Valhalla is going to be the only game on that channel, right?
Oh, no.
No, I think Chase is asking
at launch.
No, that's exactly what I was asking. Because when you said that, it made it sound like it was launching for Valhalla, meaning that was the only game. But that isn't going to be the case. It's going to have more. I'm trying to tie it to what MM was saying. I'm done. I'm good.
No, that's right. Yeah.
What I have to add on this is that Watch Dogs Legion, which launches at the end of October, it's not gonna be available on the Luna channel.
No, it's not. Not until later, right? Not until
later. But they were very precise, saying that once Valhalla launches, the Ubisoft channel will be already up. On Luna.
Gotcha.
And that makes me think that November timeline is gonna be the timeline that we are getting the Uplay Plus here as well.
Gotcha. No, I agree with that. I'm still in that one. Yep. Clip that.
Meg, when do you think we see you play Plus? Do you think it's going to show up with Watch Dogs?
Could be.
It's like, I really don't care.
My heart says maybe. My head says, I don't know. My gut says, what's the next question?
Just steal all of them.
I don't have a good reasoning for any of it.
Meg. My heart says yes. My head says no.
I don't know, guys. I don't know about this stuff. Anything could happen. I listen to what you guys say, and it all sounds reasonable.
Well, interestingly enough, the next 3 games coming out are Ubisoft titles, but well, I mean, at least announced. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get more games here in October and more in November, but I wonder how Uplay Plus is still going to look on Stadia. Are we going to see like classic games? Are you going to see like Far Cry 3? Are you going to see like Assassin's Creed 1 and 2? Are you going to see Just Dance 2014? I'm just saying.
I'm going to let Eddie and Chase go first, and then I'm going to pull some numbers. Go ahead.
All right, Chase, go ahead.
I don't know. I just, this whole, the Uplay thing, when all this went down, I just have kind of resigned myself to just temper expectations. I personally don't think this thing launches unless they've got at least, I said the minimum was 30, and I still stand by that. Because economically, you have to give a reason as to why someone should adopt this. But I think the thing that's even more important in this whole conversation is price points are going to matter really big on this, because again, and Google and Amazon are 2 different companies when it comes to money, right? We always talk about they both have money. They do. Google is strategic in how they spend. Amazon comes into spaces and disrupts. And what does that mean? They just write checks. That's what they do. So if Amazon comes in and says, we're going to do $5.99 for Luna Plus, and they give Ubisoft a crazy amount of money and supplement their price further down than what Stadia's is going to be, it's going to be a very interesting, compelling back and forth between these two. So to answer your question, I don't have any expectations on this. I used to say it was going to be quarter 3, quarter 4. I don't know. I really don't. I hate to say wait and see, but that's kind of how I feel on it. Because there's not enough indication here. There's not enough information that tells us one way or the other. Even with these games, that doesn't guarantee it. Because if they have a number behind the scenes that they want, that they believe is, meaning Ubisoft, because Ubisoft's going to be the big player in a lot of this, that they believe makes the economic sense.
Yeah,
they're not going to launch it, or they're not going to let Stadia launch it. So that's the tough part on this one.
Yeah, if my math is correct, I think we got about 9 Ubisoft titles currently on the platform.
Yeah, we're way off from even 30.
Yeah.
8.
And we're in October. So you got to think about that. It's only 2 months. Now, again, they could be working on games behind the scenes. And if they are, that is what it is. They're going to show it. But yeah, that's just a very short window. So
very interested to see what their plan is. Like, if it's going to be as close to the PC version of Uplay Plus, like a modified version for a modified price and stuff like that. But again, that's a topic of conversation to come up with. So Watch Dogs Legion, I guess. Chase, is that a game that's going to interest you to pick up? Uplay Plus or not?
If my mic will turn on. I pressed it 3 times and it said, no, you're not allowed to speak. I think it was trying to silence me. You said Watch Dogs. Yes. That may actually be the game that I pick up over Cyberpunk. I've said this before that I'm still kind of on the fence between the two of them. Cyberpunk had a lot of we're talking about Watch Dogs. Never mind. Yes, I'm going to pick up Watch Dogs. Sorry, I was going to go off on a tangent. I don't want to do that.
Eddie, Watch Dogs, is that game a game you're going to pick up?
I'll wait. From now on, I'll wait on the Ubisoft titles and get it on Uplay Plus.
So Assassin's Creed even? I knew it.
No, even Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Because I believe my gut, as Mango was saying, I have a gut feeling that by November 10th, the Uplay Plus is already here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So at the very latest, it's going to launch with Assassin's Creed.
That's my gut feeling, yes. And then I will have a problem because I would need to play Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, and 9 days later, Cyberpunk, and then I'm screwed.
Yep.
Because let me just interrupt there real quick. So I mean, Uplay Plus is literally just like a subscription, so there's really nothing you need to probably code too much into, right? It'd be just like an additional version of Stadia Pro, for instance.
No, yeah, of course. The part of the code of making it available for sure.
Yeah, it's gotta be easy.
That's the easy part, but the hard part, it's bring the games. But we know that they have been recently a lot of ratings going on for Ubisoft titles. We got Far Cry, we got Siege, we got some other titles being rated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that will continue to be increasing until it launches. When Valhalla launches, my gut feeling says that it will be Uplay Plus will either launch on that day or we already be here for like a week.
Fair enough. Meg, what do you think about Watch Dogs Legion? Is that a game you're picking up?
I'm still on the fence about that because I don't know. Like, I really want Cyberpunk, but mostly just because of all the hype around Cyberpunk. And I just want to like get involved with it because these games seem really similar. Like they have, maybe not in the play style, but the vibes are really similar. Like they're both kind of dark and futuristic. Watch Dogs has some interesting like features, but I've seen a little bit of like gameplay clips, and it seems kind of weird, like weird people doing weird things. And I mean, not that I'm not a weirdo, but it just kind of slightly like rubs me the wrong way. So I'm actually I've cooled a little bit recently on Watch Dogs. I used to be super excited for it, but now I'm thinking, you know what, with Cyberpunk, I think I might get my dark vibe futuristic gaming in with Cyberpunk and just leave Watch Dogs. So we'll see. I'm waiting. I'm on the fence.
Brian, I have a question to everybody regarding Watch Dogs Legion, but I'll let them go first.
Sure.
All right, kiddies. Let's do this, kiddies. Who wants a math lesson? All right, I'm gonna share my
Metamucil yet?
Yeah, I had my Metamucil. It's kicked in. Cover your ears. No. So remember when Phil Harrison like spazzed on the whole gaming community and was like, shut the hell up. We're coming out with 120 games in 2020, right?
Sure.
So if you take into consideration that Stadia now has 91 games as of today, 27 of those came out in 2019. So that leaves 64. So let's do this. So you take 120 minus 64. That leaves 56 games, right? And then we still got 22 games still coming that are still slated, and that leaves 34. So if you take the 8 games that we already have, and that means that there are at least going to be 42 games in Uplay Plus. If you go by if what Phil Harrison said was right about 120 games, if they're still on pace, which they may not be, who knows? If they're still on pace, then that's at least 42 games that we're getting. I'm going to bump it up. I'm going to give it the good old Google bump up, and I'm going to say that I believe that Uplay Plus, like Eddie said, is going to release early November, and I'm going to say there's going to be 50 games in it. And I think that because Amazon, like Chase said, is going to price it so aggressively, I think Google's going to try to make sure that they match it, get as close as they can with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we'll see. But if you look at the numbers that's already been given to us, that's probably what we're looking at if everything's on track.
Fair point. Anyone else have anything to comment on Uplay Plus?
Actually, so I had the question for the panel for Watch Dogs. We know that Cyberpunk. I don't know how much you guys have been following, but you have 3 life paths, and there are a lot of NPCs interaction. And they talk about try to see the NPC life because there are a lot of backstory behind a lot of these NPCs. Sure. Now, Watch Dogs, as Meg was saying, there are a lot of weirdos. And the part that got me interested in thinking is that they said that you can recruit anyone you want on the street. So you're seeing somebody on the street, you recruit, and you play as that somebody. Are those NPCs once you can play with them?
Sorry.
You mean you can any NPC that you see, you're supposedly able to recruit and just play as that NPC.
So now, they are not NPC.
Well, yeah,
as the word that is right. Go for
damn you, Eddie! Damn! That's a good one. That's a good one. But Ubisoft, but to that point, Eddie, Ubisoft is saying, yeah, you can play with NPCs. Well, you can't, because if it's an NPC, a non-playable character, then you can't play as them. But good one, Eddie. Good one.
Back at you, Brian.
All right. Welcome back. Okay. So, wait, I don't know why it's not on this list.
You're looking at Sekiro, right? Or
yeah.
Sekiro? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was about to say, if Dan or Avery are still watching, Sekiro needs to be added to the coming up in October. So,
Dan. Yeah,
Sekiro. Dan, get your stuff together. Okay, so October 29th, the day Watch Dogs Legion comes out, will be Sekiro.
That's crazy. Yeah,
it's a Dark Souls type game. So, again, we can do a quick. Will you pick this kind of game up, Chase? Will you pick up Sekiro? Dan in the chat says Sawi.
No.
Really? Okay. I don't want to pry too much or pro too much. I don't know what the fuck. Why? Damn it! I said it. I don't
on you. There it is.
I don't want to prod too much. But why I know Sekiro for you?
Okay, I was gonna say, do you want to know a simple why? It's not my genre of game. That type of game has never been my genre, so it's not something that I was interested in. I know it was Game of the Year, and I applaud that. Just not my game. I have to be. See, this is weird for me to say this, and this is across the board with both Stadia and then whatever is going to happen in November when that comes around. I've got too many games to play right now. I got to be. I've got to pick and choose what I buy now, which is a good problem to have. And I just don't see myself putting enough hours in to justify the cost.
So, follow-up question: Jedi Fallen Order, is that a game you're looking at?
Yes.
It's literally the same type of game.
It doesn't matter. It's Star Wars.
Okay, fair. It's fair. Jedi Fallen Order, people, when that shows up,
Well, hello.
It's hello there, but close enough. Eddie, Sekiro, is that a game you're going to look at picking up?
No, I already played it. Wait.
I mean, you can still pick it up. I've doubled it plenty of times.
Yeah, no, wait. Wait. I didn't.
Wait.
Oh my god. I'm confusing myself. I'm not sure if I played it or not. Because I know I played no, I did play. I didn't play I played Sekiro, I played Nioh, I played Nioh 2. I didn't play Ghost of Tsushima because I was right. I had too much.
And you've had proper
Japanese in
club,
me.
Brian.
All night, folks.
No, so I'm not picking up again.
Very clear.
Meg, are you looking at picking up Sekiro?
I have a question. I don't know. What does it mean when
That's
people
not a
say it's like a
question, but-
Dark Souls-like game? Because I hear that all the time. What is that? I thought it just meant
It's
really
hard
hard.
as hell. It's hard.
Oh
Do you thought
no!
did you thought that Celeste was hard?
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah.
I can't even with that game.
I don't even know how to
Oh my
describe
god!
it. Like, how would you describe like a Dark Souls type of game?
I thought it meant when
type
you
of
died,
game
you
is.
have to restart the game over, but I think that's something else.
No, that
no.
is permadeath.
Yeah, it sucks. Don't do that. But
It's the mechanics in the game that make it difficult. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Usually you have to fight boss fights very hard.
Yeah.
That you gotta move around a lot, and you usually attack with close attacks. It's not range attack.
as
Okay.
Andrew
And
would
then
say,
you die again, and then you die, and then you die, and then you die, and then you spend 3 hours in a boss fight, and then you go say, "No, I'm gonna go sleep," and then
Is
you wake
Jedi,
up and say,
like-
"No, I'm waking up and I'm beating that boss," and then you play for another 4
my God,
hours,
no.
and then you say, "No, okay."
I don't want to play
So-
it. I don't want to do that.
Jedi is like that, but Jedi I think is a little easier, but
and it
I
has
played-
range attacks.
that too. So I played Jedi Fallen Order on, I think, the second hardest difficulty the entire game until the very final boss, which was like stupidly unfair, like computer wise or AI story mode. Like, screw this, I just want to get through it. So at that point, I just kind of went through it. But yes, that's the kind of game it is. It's like, it's tough and it requires a lot of tenacity. Let's put it that way. So have you never played Dark Souls, is what you're saying?
No, I never played
Okay,
Dark Souls.
So you wouldn't understand the reference when I say that. So yeah, it's Sekiro is kind of in that same realm, and so Jedi Fallen Order as well. But I think Jedi is a little easier in that regard. It absolutely has a story mode, so you can just go through the story of it, which is phenomenal, by the way. But
That's what I'm gonna do. I do really want to get Star Wars. I'm gonna buy it no matter what. I'm a huge nerd. But no, Sekiro, no. I'm gonna pass on that.
fair enough. And how about you, MM?
This is gonna be controversial, but hey, Tom of Sounds of Stadia, if you're listening, I'm blaming you on this. But listening to Sounds of Stadia, they had echoed a sentiment that I had echoed in the past, and I know, Chase so elegantly says all the time, I don't want to put purchasing preferences on people, but again, we're dealing with greedy Bobby Kotick, the same guy that wanted to make you pay for cutscenes. And I still truly believe in my heart of hearts that, this might be the precursor to more Activision games coming on there. And I normally wouldn't buy this game because it's not my style of game, but to take one for the team, I'm going to buy it. And again, that's what I'm doing.
Yep.
And the only reason why I threw Tom under the bus on this, because I heard him say that on the Sounds of Stadia too. So Tom, it's your fault. but I truly believe, knowing Bobby Kotick, following this guy for over a decade, I truly believe that this is what it is. And so I want to see more Activision games on the platform. That's what I'm going to do. My personal choice. So yeah, that's why I'm getting it.
When it comes to the October 29th releases, this is going to be the game I pick up personally. Watch Dogs, I was just never a fan of the series. Hyped for the first game. Of course, it was set in Chicago, which obviously I'm a big fan of, but it just didn't appeal to me in the way I was hoping it would. So Sekiro is something I've heard great things about. It's rarely ever on sale, so I'm comfortable spending the asking price for it. But my next question is, what game has not been announced that's going to be showing up in October for you guys. So
I can tell you what it won't be.
I personally think it's going to be Jedi Fallen Order. I think we're going to finally get that in October at some point. But Chase, what is it not going to be that you're trying to say?
It won't be EA games.
So it won't be Jedi Fallen Order.
Let me back up. Hold on. I said that wrong. It could be that. It won't be any of the EA Sports games because they already said when they did their announcement, and a lot of people have been saying this in different Reddit posts. I just wanted to make sure to link back to this. Mm-hmm. When they did the partnership announcement, they specifically said that those games wouldn't come until winter. So do not expect FIFA or Madden prior to, at the earliest, end of November, December timeframe, maybe even as early as January or late as January, because that's still part of the winter timeframe. But yeah, I agree. We probably could see Jedi Fallen Order this month. I said that wrong. I'm sorry.
I want to touch on the EA Sports side. Like, I think at that point, if it's January, there's no point in releasing those games because the Super Bowl is literally a couple weeks away. FIFA is, soccer at that point is probably not in people's minds at that point. So I'm under the impression that it's going to be close to next gen as possible. So mid to late November for FIFA and Madden. But I do believe Jedi Fallen Order is going to happen this month. So, Eddie, what do you think is going to show up in October that has not been officially dated?
I signed everything that you said. And I would just add to that saying that I believe EA Sports is in the game in Halloween on holiday season.
So like around Christmas time?
Yep.
So what do you think is going to show up in October? Just Jedi or anything else?
Jedi, yes. Let me take a look. I believe there's a chance for Destroy All Humans.
Yeah.
And well, we could be seeing is the SpongeBob, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
I think you have a lot of good picks there, Eddie, because I think it's going to be a part of a Connect in October because I truly think October is a Connect. But Meg, you were laughing at all that. What do you think we're going to see in October?
El Hijo. That's what I think. That's it. Yep.
El Hijo. That's literally it.
I really want to play that game, and I keep thinking when they announced it, it sounded like it was coming out like that week, and I got so excited. And like every day, I expect for it to come out. And so yeah,
that's fair. How about you, MM2K?
I'm gonna say Sniper Elite 4. I think that's coming out in October. I'm going to steal El Hijo from Meg. Mm-hmm. And dare I say, now don't clip this. I think one of the mafias are going to come. I think one of the mafias are probably going to come too.
Okay.
So I know, and man, am I rosy eyed or what? But yeah, that's what I'm going to put down.
Fair enough. All right, I like it. All right, moving on to the next thing is probably the biggest news topic of the week was the Google launch night in. So we got a new announcement or official announcement for this little guy. The Chromecast with Google TV has been officially announced, released. It's weird because I was at Target the other day. They said, we can't sell this yet. We literally have it in our back room, but we cannot sell it to you. Went to Home Depot. They didn't have it, but I was able to buy it online. Got it shipped today. And it's here today. So I don't know what the release date issue is with the like Target and other retailers, but that's not the issue within our community. The issue is that Stadia is not officially supported by this new Chromecast right out the gate. So I'm going to pass this off to Chase and MM2K to kind of give you a rundown of sorts of why this is a deal. Just who wants to start off with this? I don't know if Chase is
I need to get another beer for this one because I'm going to be interesting to watch MM2K versus Chase.
Well, I mean, I quite honestly...
So hold on before I...
Go ahead.
If I may real quick. Are you guys on opposite sides?
I don't think it's that. So I would actually prefer if MM went first because the context that I'm coming at this from is not Stadia driven. And I think it's been lost in translation multiple times in multiple days. And I'm just going to leave that part there. I think if we're going to talk about this from the Stadia side, I think should go first, and then I can talk about it from why it's an issue from the consumer side.
By the way, Meg is
Go ahead,
as well has a strong opinion on this one.
Yep. No, that's fine. We can do it. Me, Chase, Eddie, and Meg. Well, I hate to keep making Meg last. How are we going to do it? I'll kick off. I'll say it like this. I mean, my perspective is a little bit different than that. From a personal perspective, just like how I said, don't let me, the old fogey, spoil you on Baldur's Gate 3. From a founder's, hardcore gamer perspective that want the latest tech in my hands and being able to slap Stadia on it and call on my Xbot and pony friends and say, aha, look here, damn it. It sucks, and also, we kind of talked this out on SSC podcast, me, Eddie, and Storm, where if you look at it, this pretty much speaks to Gen 2 not coming until 2021, because this is the Chromecast that can handle what is being rumored that Gen 2 is going to be capable of, right? So if you're not, I can't see Google releasing Gen 2 and not having a Chromecast that can support particularly 120 frames per second, not so much 8K. 8K is so far off, but 120 frames per second. But from a consumer side, here's how I look at it, because I'm looking at data from all consumers, not hardcore consumers, not the 5%. I'm looking at the 95%. The 95%, most of them that are going to be introduced to Stadia, and I'm talking about the casuals, they're going to see an ad on a website somewhere or something traditional. And they're going to go and either go online and say, oh, I want to play that. How do I play that on my TV or play it on my computer? When they go see how to play it on a computer, they're already set. When they go look to see how they play it on their TV, they're either going to order it online or they're going to walk into a Best Buy and say, hey, I want to play this on my TV. How do I do that? And then they're going to say, okay, you buy this $100 kit and you can play it on your TV. And they're going to say, the vast majority of them are going to say, okay, I'm out of here. Or they're going to say, you know what? I heard the few of them, I believe, will say, you know what? I heard there's a new Chromecast. Can I buy an extra one of those? And they're going to say, nope, you can't do it on there. And they're going to say, okay, I'm just going to take my $100 kit and I'm going to go home with my $100 kit and they're going to play it. And that's it. And that's what I believe that they're going to do based on the tracking that I've seen, and tracking that I think was made a little bit evident that may have flew over people's heads in the Stadia or in the Google presentation. If you notice, when they talked about Google, they did it on a phone.
Talking about
Stadia. For Stadia. I'm sorry. Yep. When Google talked about Stadia, they did it with a phone ad. Now, I know that me and Broadband Bullies had released an article a while ago where we asked people on Reddit, what is your favorite way to play Stadia? And the majority of people said TVs or PCs. But again, people on Reddit are the 95%, they're the 5%. They're not the 95%. Google may have tracking that shows 95% of our people that have come over to our platform since we've released the free tier are coming on phones. I get people that tell me all the time, I want to try Google on my phone. I get a lot of people that also tell me, you know what, PlayStation may be my main, but I really like Stadia. We could talk about this in the after show as well. So I think that Google may have looked at the fact that they got to release this thing now while the iron is hot for the Google TV portion, the Stadia portion, as per good friends of ours like Ray Sherrod, it just ain't ready yet, and they're not going to hold it back for that part. They're going to strike while the iron is hot with the Google TV. So that's why they decided to release it. They're also looking over their shoulder at Amazon, who is in a limited beta phase, and they're like, okay, if we can get this thing pushed out before they go full retail, we're cool. So even though it sucks for me as a hardcore gamer, I don't think that the general consumer, which is, again, the 95%, the people that are tracking with Google, I don't think they're going to look at this and this is going to sour with them unless Amazon comes out as well. And then they have a dongle that they can buy for $50 full retail that plays Luna, and you ain't got to buy a controller. Then it becomes a problem. But right now, I don't see a problem for the general consumer. So that's my bet. I shut up now.
Random side note: I have the Chromecast loaded on the Old Republic Star Wars RPG on here, which is cool. I don't know. I just want to point that out there. So go ahead, Chase. Really excited for that. I'm gonna be doing that all night. Go ahead, Chase.
No, I mean I don't necessarily agree there, but I'll lay out why that is. So there's a couple issues with this, and I'm not looking at this from a Stadia centric viewpoint. I'm looking at this as a consumer driven concern, because when companies do what Google has done here, and this is not to attack Stadia, by the way, and again, I think this has gotten lost in translation. My complaint and my frustration and where I'm coming from as a consumer advocate is at Google, the company. Google, the company, decided arbitrarily to take away the Chromecast Ultra during a transition phase where that is the primary way that people can play on televisions, period. The end of story. There is no other option right now. And in any other ecosystem, whether it was PlayStation, with the exception of Microsoft, because Microsoft has done what I'm about to say, and they're guilty of it too, so I'm calling them out as well. Every other company, for the most part, tries to make sure that their pre-existing device stays on the market for purchase until the new device comes out. They all do this. It's intended to make sure that consumers can make a smooth transition. You've effectively taken away a consumer's choice by removing an individual option. Now, here's the problem and why it's an issue. Number one, the data that's saying that maybe they're focused on phones, that may be what is being presented. But if that was the case, then Google would be focused on what? Doing the phones and putting features on the phones first. They're not. They're doing TVs and PCs, because in North America and Europe, that's where people are primarily playing. So I have to disagree with that wholeheartedly. On top of that, going forward out of this, the major issue that I have ultimately is three things. Number one, for someone that's already coming towards this ecosystem that's a consumer, they're going to look at this and go, you're forcing me to pay $99 to get into your ecosystem versus Amazon, where I can go spend $40. There's problem number one. And if we remove that from the equation for a second, I have friends, and I don't agree with this tactic. This is what they did, though. You can agree with it whether you like it or not out there, but it happened. They bought a controller first with the intent of, I'm just going to play on my phone, and I'm just going to play on my Chromebook or my Chrome OS device. What if they decide all of a sudden that they want to play on their TV? Now you're going to force them to go spend $99 instead of $60 or $70? It is a really, really bad move. And then, and this is the biggest one, this device is now going to be moved out of production. They're not going to be making anymore. How many of these actual bundles are left? Are we going to get to March? Because remember, they said early 2021. What if this doesn't roll out, the Sabrina rollout, until June? What if we run out of bundles? So you're going to lock people out of TVs? This was not thought out very well. And I have to be very authentic here. I do not tolerate this kind of crap from any company. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Google, Microsoft, Sony, the company down the street, the company down the left. It doesn't matter who it is. This is wrong. You don't do this to consumers. And that's why I've got a problem with it. And again, that part got missed in what I was saying over the past couple of days. Stadia is not to blame here, panel and chat. They didn't make this decision. Google, the company, made this decision. And perception is 9/10 of the law. How do you think a consumer is going to look at this and go, wait a minute, you just rolled out the brand new device that's been in development for months. We're talking months, Brian and panel. We're not talking just a couple of days. And you didn't focus on the one. This isn't a third-party app. This isn't Netflix or Hulu or anything else. This is your own application from within your own umbrella. And you didn't have this prepped and ready. How do you think that looks to a consumer? That's the problem. That's the rub. So again, I wholeheartedly have to disagree, because the reverse would be happening here. If it was really about phones, that would be where they would be focusing their features. They're not doing that. So this is just a bad look, man. And I really think Google should have thought this out before they did it. And I hope in my heart of hearts that they will rethink this and they will say, you know what? We were wrong. We're going to put the CCU on the Stadia storefront, and that's where it's going to live until we move over to Sabrina. And if they do that, I've got no issue. And here's the other thing real quick. If they move the Premier Edition down to 50 or $40, I'll shut up. Because at that point, now they've made it towards more reasonable to a consumer. And I'm done. Sorry, rant over.
Meg's got something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with a lot that Chase has to say. When that happened and that came out and I realized that Sabrina, whatever they call it, did not have Stadia on it, I was like, it says to me that Google does not take Stadia seriously. how can I try to convince somebody? And like you said, the word ecosystem is so true. How can you say to somebody, yeah, Google, the ecosystem, Stadia, it all fits together. Oh, but you can't actually play Stadia with this brand new, like, Chromecast TV. What do they call it? Google TV that just became released.
Well,
It's
how did their money call it
ridiculous.
again?
CCG TV. Germani gets
Yeah, CCG TV.
Yeah.
Like I was speechless. And then they're like, oh, in 2021 it'll have Stadia. Like it was an afterthought. Like, oh yeah, our gaming platform that we launched supposedly and have been pushing. It just felt like they don't take it seriously at all. Anders in chat said, imagine a new Fire Stick not working with Prime Video. That's exactly what it's like. It's literally like, are you serious? So yeah, to me, it was a disaster that they didn't include that. And then they were like, oh yeah, let's show Stadia with a phone. And I have to say, Jem and I were talking about it, and it shows this guy on a park bench, and he's got the stick and the claw and wires sticking out of it. And Jem was like, it looks like he's setting a bomb. And I laughed and I was like, yeah, it totally does. It does not look streamlined. It does not look fun. It looks like a mess. Where did he has no bag with him? Did he just whip this out of his pocket? Like it was a mess. And that's what they're pushing. Oh, and you can't play on your TV. And like, it's just crazy. And like you said, oh, well, it just makes no sense. Now is a horrible, horrible time to try to get people to come onto Stadia and play with this mess of options that they have available for the way that people play. And it doesn't even make sense. You don't even need a wire anymore. Why would they put that on the video? They must have recorded it months ago, because you don't need that cord anymore.
I know.
I was so upset. I was so upset.
I think I know what Eddie's going to say. It's like, well, technically you can't do that on mobile data, but that's not the point, right? Is that what you're going to say?
No.
Well, but I agree with Meg, though, because I think it's
but I agree. No,
that you have the wire connected to it.
You need. Actually, you said
You
it,
don't.
and I didn't understand correctly, Brian. But you were right. If you are playing on mobile data, you cannot use your Stadia controller. But you said right, Brian.
But for an ad, I think that's just kind of splitting hairs, because technically you can't play video games in widescreen on your newer devices anyway, which he was doing, if you're looking at it that way. But yeah, it kind of seemed superfluous to have like the wire in there, like just.
Well,
but I think now we're just really.
It is because they were using the Stadia controller, and I think they try to be real, because if you are on the street using data and you want to use the Stadia controller, you can only do that by wiring. You cannot do that by Bluetooth or connection. So if I am on Wi-Fi and I'm playing on the phone, I have the option to link the controller with the code. But if I am on the street, no, I can't.
Okay, just as a side, just to counter that, then think of that awesome ad they put out with Luna, with that girl literally dancing down the street and her game is appearing everywhere and it's so fun and so cool. That is what, and then you have this guy on a park bench with his wires and this huge claw, and he's sitting there and he's talking all cool. Oh my God, so bad. Bad look for Stadia, bad. And then the Amazon ads are so good. They're not all hung up on whatever, this and that. No, it just looks great. You can play on any screen. Look how cool it is. Who was comparing maybe with Stadia Cast, the crazy guy with the crazy hair and the eyes, that's like the Stadia guy, compared to this girl who's so
Geico
cool
caveman.
and hip, right? Unbelievable.
Is that the same guy?
Unbelievable.
No, I'm just joking.
Well, I know he's like he's actually a comedian, but I didn't know if he was like actually the same guy.
Well,
Anyway.
to be honest, I didn't like the Luna commercial. It's like everybody's trying to watch TV, and the girl said, "No, I'm gonna play video games on this screen." But I'm watching here. No, I'm gonna be playing video games on here.
That's funny.
I was just going to add one thing that I did want to say about this, but I wanted to now go over just to the Stadia part. I do think them focusing on the 5G piece and the phone globally makes sense. And again, I think when we look at Stadia, you've got to look at it in two buckets. What happens in North America and Europe, the focus that's here, is completely different than how it's going to look in the emerging markets. Stadia is going to take off in places like India and South Korea and Brazil. It's going to do just fine in those places. Here, it's going to have a much bigger uphill battle because we are still a dedicated device society. So that's something I just wanted to throw out there, that I think Stadia is doing the right thing globally, to give them credit and to give Google credit on that front. I'm trying to be positive on the other side of it. that on the global perspective, they are doing the right things. So I don't want people to think I'm just hating on them to hate on them. I'm not doing that.
Brian, I want to throw one more thing in there just to make sure there's clarity here. I don't disagree with the notions that were given for, again, the 5%. We here on this panel, whether we like it or not, we're the 5%. For the 95%, I've seen data that shows otherwise, and I know this isn't fair. And I was trying to hold some of this until I got some better tracking on other devices. But for phones, since the free tier was released, Google saw an increase on phone activity and phone signups 1,000%. And I can't find that anywhere else at the moment.
What?
So again, I get 1,000%. It went up 1,000% once the free on phones.
10 times whatever they had.
Yeah. So with that being, and I'm not saying it's been 1,000% since then, but the highest sign up tracking that I've seen is on the phones, and it went up 1,000% on phones, and no other devices even close. So what I'm saying, guys, is that from what I can, and I'm still digging to look at TVs and laptops and all the other stuff. But what I'm saying is that everything that you guys and everyone is saying is prevalent to the 5%. The casual gamer who is part of the 95%, it looks like that they're tracking heavier on phones. And those are the people that I'm saying that I'm doubting this is going to relate to.
The next billion gamers. That Google once said, right?
They just want to get in and they're like, oh, this thing is only for $100. Even the cheapest Xbox is $299 or $249. This thing looked cool when I saw it online. They're not worrying that it's on Sabrina or not. The few that will, they may say, oh, okay, well, I'm just 100 is still a bark. So that's what I'm saying, guys, is that again, for us, the 5%, it's sucking, but for the 95%, where the tracking looks to be different than traditional tracking, we can't look at this the same in both of those buckets, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but in North America and Europe, again, we've got a dedicated.
I'm telling you, Chase. I'm telling you.
I'm curious to see what countries that is, though, in the markets that have been released, because if that number is, and here's where I got to push back a little bit. If we're not drilling that down to the United States and the UK and seeing exactly what those numbers are in those countries, that's who I'm speaking about, because that is going to be where the tall tale sign is. If we're talking about Germany and some of the other places where this released, where it isn't as prevalent to have some of the same devices, because it's kind of hybrid in those places as much as it is not so much here. That's a different story. And we got to be really careful about with data holistically, that when we're drilling down about their positioning and global positioning is a lot different than what it would be here with people that are buying up the Xboxes and the TVs, because here's the deal. People are still consuming Netflix and everything else on televisions. There's data that shows that TVs are still in that top percentile. So that's why I got to be real careful about going down that lane until we see drill down data that shows North America and the UK. That's what I want to see.
This is gauging North America, UK is gauging some of the other areas as well. But North America and UK are the most prevalent areas, and this is where the data is tracking. And again, I get everything that you're saying, Chase, is 150,000% right when it comes to normal game tracking. What Google is seeing is they're seeing their engagement with people saying, and this is what I surmise too. This is people, because I've seen it in personal tracking, people saying, you know what, Google can't be my main, but it'll be something that I try on side of me playing on PC, me playing on PlayStation, and I want to try it on the phone. That may be where they're seeing their biggest push, and hence why you saw that, even though that commercial was a little awkward in the Google presentation, there was a reason why they focused on the phone when they talked about it, and could be why they opted to go where they opted with Sabrina. Again, the largest markets in this data inclusion is UK, because that's the largest territories in their whole the whole areas that they cover, UK and the US. It's just things are just tracking differently for Stadia. It's different.
You, Chase.
Yeah, I was muted. I'm sorry. I still can't go down the lane though of what they did here. It's wrong. As a consumer advocate, even if that's the case, you don't do what they did here. It's not right. So I'll still stick to that.
I agree with both of you because my initial point was it says to me that Google does not take Stadia seriously as a serious gaming platform. That's what this said to me. And I don't think that you can call a serious platform one that just focuses mostly on mobile devices, because that's more casual. That's just for fun. I personally don't want to play an entire game just on mobile device. Maybe now and then in between, or a certain game or two that plays well, or that is, good. But I don't want to do all my gaming on my phone. I don't.
To be fair, what I'm not saying is that that's their focus. I mean, Chase brought it up earlier that even the most recent features aren't phone friendly. It's just what they're saying is, if they're sitting in the boardroom, what the conversation could have been is, okay, we're ready to go with Sabrina and Google TV, but this Stadia portion ain't working right yet. Do we hold back everything, or do we still put it out there? And they probably looked at their tracking and said, look, our tracking is showing that this ain't going to impact us on the gaming side that much overall with our core demographic. Go ahead and put it out. And I agree with Chase. As a hardcore consumer, I want the shiniest new device. It bummed me out because I got to take an L on Gen 2.0. But again, I think there's more than meets the eye on why they make this decision. I'm not agreeing with it, but I think there's more than meets the eye.
Well, hold on. And again, I know this is going back and forth. I promise, Brian, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm not saying this because it's because of me. I'm not looking at my use case on this. And again, I got to make sure that my words are very clear and that I don't have, and this is no disrespect to MM or anybody else, but I'm not going to have narratives attached to what I'm saying here. What I am saying is that, and when it comes to consumers, this is wrong. You do not do what they did here. Period. End of story. And I'm not going to accept it. And I'm not going to say that it is acceptable. It's wrong. And that's what I'm trying to say here. This is not, regardless of what the data shows, I still want to see that. But regardless of the data, you don't do what they did here. It is a bad move. It's not right to consumers as a whole. Full stop. That's what I'm saying. It's not about my use case.
And I would agree with that. Just to clarify, is your position that they could have put this on Sabrina and got it to work at launch? Because a lot of people's not going to feel that way. But just to clarify where you're coming from.
If they weren't going to put it on Sabrina, they needed to leave the CCU in place. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Oh, I got you. Okay. I mean, it's still. I mean, again, to play devil's advocate, it's still available. It's just not available separately. So, but I get it.
That's my issue with it though, because if somebody wants to go buy one individually, you've taken away that choice from them. So, sorry.
Yeah.
I know that was a testy one, y'all. I apologize, but I had to make sure it was very, very clear.
Fair points, but yeah, it's a touchy subject within the community. I mean, you think many people that are part of the platform at this point would have picked up a Chromecast if they really wanted to play that way, but you obviously want to look at the future of this community. You want to make sure that people have that option too, and you kind of take that away by forcing them to pay $100, and you want to make it a much easier transition for them. But to play on TV, you've always had to pick up a Premier Edition, right? So I mean, there's that there too. But the Chromecast with Google TV, which has Bluetooth, Xbox controllers, and everything else, it would make sense having that app readily available. Like, we can sideload the app. Of course, it's not always perfect, but why isn't it there? Eddie, you have something to say?
Yeah, so it's just a question, actually. The new GCCU TV, it's $50.
Mm-hmm.
The CCU is $70, or was $70. Rest in peace, CCU. And then Premier Edition, it's $100. So, Chase, what you're saying is that you should have the 3 devices in the market, a 50, a 70, and a 100?
Until you finish the transition, absolutely. This happens in every other marketplace. They do this. There are examples where companies have not done that, and I'm going to call one of them out because I've called them out in the past. And MM knows this. Microsoft has taken a console off of the market during a transition period. And it wasn't right then, and it's not right now.
So when you say transition, until the Chromecast with Google TV has a Stadia app, they can't do this?
Correct. Because
Okay.
what they could do is the way that you handle this, and this, again, I'm telling you from the way I'm kind of trying to make sure that it doesn't, because I get people, there was an argument that somebody made today, and I actually agreed with it. You don't put this on the main store, because then that gives the wrong impression. And I get that point. What you can do is you put this in the Stadia storefront, because what is this directly tied to? It's directly tied to the Stadia ecosystem. So you keep this ongoing until you make that transition, so you don't lock people out. And I think what my fear is here's where this gets a little bit dicey. In a normal situation with a console, let's say your PS4 breaks, right? And then we're in the PS5 era. Well, yeah, somebody said today you can go buy a PS5 and it's not a big deal. Well, if your Chromecast Ultra breaks now and it's not under warranty, you can't go buy another one by itself. You got to go all the way up to that Premier Edition. So again, from the consumer standpoint, that's why I have major issues with this, and that's why I'm frustrated about it and upset is at Google, not Stadia the company, or Stadia the division. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I just have to throw this out here too. And again, I totally respect that and get that. My question is, what do you do in a situation where your PlayStation 4 breaks and
You can't play anymore.
yeah, you can't play anymore? It's just that you got to go out and you got to buy the complete bundle. You don't just buy the PlayStation cons. And you know what I'm saying? So just to put all the caveats and all the information out there, I get where it's not. And again, I'm not saying it sucks just for us personally. It sucks for the consumer that fits into our bucket. But I don't think that the advent of the Chromecast Ultra was solely to be separate for the game portion. It was cool that you can use it for the game portion, but I think Google's long-hearted intention was for you to get that Chromecast, for you to get that controller for the game portion, and then they'll it'll be available separately with Sabrina, possibly because they can't put it on there.
But until they discontinued the PlayStation 4, you could buy it individually. That
console
happened.
without the joysticks and the adapter.
No. When you buy a PlayStation, and see here's where we're getting into a back and forth piece on this. Again, respectfully, when you bought the PlayStation, irregardless, you always got the controller with it. That was I'm not disagreeing about that. The point is that device was available up through the transition of the new device. That's where we're getting lost in the murky water here. The bottom line is this device has been removed as a individual purchase option. That's the problem. Because again, if you're at home and it's a new person, let's say they don't want to get the white controller with the Premier Edition and they want to get the Wasabi. Now they have to go buy a Premier Edition on top of that at $99.
Eddie, I know you want to chime. Just one last question. So when the PlayStation TV, when that was canceled, should that be considered on the same plateau as this? Because we
should have all picked one of those up, by the way. That sells so well on the secondhand market right now.
Yeah, I mean that's similar to that, and that's all. Just to put context to it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Any company that does this is wrong. I don't care who it is. When Microsoft did it, they were wrong. And I know I wasn't in the Stadia community at that point, but I called them out in my gaming circles that I was in. I said, this is wrong. They shouldn't do this. I don't care who it is. I don't have an allegiance to a company. And I think that's the problem here.
Where did Xbox do that? What did Xbox do that you're referring to?
They've pulled consoles to force people up into another market share. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily, you can make an argument one way or the other that that's not what Google's doing here, but effectively the viewpoint is they pulled this device away to force you into Sabrina. They have done that.
Oddly enough, what Xbox did, at least this generation, was pull their premium device for the cheaper device. They pulled the One X.
I know, but I'm just getting at the point that they've pulled devices that way to try to move people around, and I just don't agree with it. I don't. That's how I view it.
What I'm going to say quickly here, and Brian, I think we need to wrap up, right? You call. Well, anyway, there was a good comment on chat here that if you are really, 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 oh my God, I needed to buy a CCU, you can go, and I just checked it here, by the way. I went to the website from Walmart. I can get a CCU over there. If you go to Best Buy, I'm not sure Best Buy, but probably they will have it. or it's going to be available on Target. If you, oh my God, I desperately need to buy a CCU. Do I need? Is Google the only option for me to buy it? If it's the only option for you to buy it, okay, you have a blind side, I would say. But if you really want to buy this device, you can buy first hand, not second handed, on these other suppliers.
To be fair to Chase, though, and again, I get both sides of the argument. I'm just trying to put full. But
Right.
to be fair to Chase on that, I think what he's saying is once that stock is depleted, if somebody wants a CCU, they can't access it. And,
Right.
I'm just looking at it holistically from history, where that's happened in the past, and just my personal opinion. Again, I respect his. It's just my personal opinion. I didn't think like when PlayStation TV was gone, that was such a big big deal. I thought Xbox One X was a big deal because it was like you said, a premier $500 console.
Exactly.
And it was only on the market for 2 years, for crying out loud. And they said software is king, and then it released with. I ain't even gonna go down that road, but
to your point, that's what I'm saying is they were wrong for that too. That's not acceptable. You don't do that to people. And I think that, again, I get it. And I just want to leave off with this. I know that people, when we talk about Google, when we talk about Stadia, it comes across as though we're attacking Stadia, the division. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're talking about Google, the parent company that's overseeing that division. Folks, Stadia had a really good week this week, and you should celebrate what they have done as a division. They had a strong week. This is not directed at them. This is at Google. Google made this decision, not the Stadia team.
Meg, what do you think? Meg's been quiet.
I mostly said my piece. I just think trying to like someone being like, oh, there's this cool new, like, oh, Meg, like, I know you're into Stadia. Like, I just saw they had this new Chromecast thing. When I would be embarrassed to be like, oh yeah, Stadia doesn't work on it. And they'd be like, what? This is like a brand new thing from Google. Isn't Stadia Google? And I'd be like, get out of here. Right? Like, it would be embarrassing. Like, I feel people laughing at us. So I can feel it. I'm sad about it. But in 2021, it'll all be fixed, and there'll be an app, and we'll all be pressing our little buttons and playing away. And this will be a thing of the past, like all the other hurdles that we've overcome. So this is just what it is when you're an early adopter of technology.
We gotta remember as well, it's way better to overestimate than underestimate, because Google promised that they would deliver the Buddy Pass in up to 6 months or 12 weeks or something like that.
It's fair.
And it was there in like 10 days.
And this doesn't affect 95% of the people in the Stadia ecosystem. So MM was right about that.
I mean, we can get upset about it because we're champions of this service. We want it to do well. We want it to exceed. We want it to be viewed in the public eye as a cool thing. Like, this box right here has no Stadia logo on it. How cool would it have been to see that Stadia logo on there and see, because a lot of places right now, right? So it'd be really cool to see that kind of advertisement, the free advertisement, obviously, just be connected to it. So I understand the frustration with it. I think in the long run, it really won't end up mattering too much. If people wanted to play Stadia on their TV, they can do it. They just can't do it through the Google Store. They can't do it through Best Buy, I don't think. They can find a Chromecast Ultra if they really wanted to, but they need a Stadia controller to begin with anyway. So they'll have to have both of that combination to start with. So to me personally, it's never really been that big of a deal, but I can see why it can be a big of a deal. So, I mean,
great discussion though. Great discussion.
Absolutely. So,
and damn you, Brian, for getting the last Sky Blue. Took the last Sky Blue.
It was weird because I literally went to Home Depot, Walmart. So I was like, yo, Target, like, you guys got it? Like, no, we don't have it. We don't have it. We can't sell it until like next week. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I literally was at a Home Depot. I asked them about it, and they said the same thing. I looked on their website. It said next day, which was today. I was like, and it was free shipping, by the way, which is really cool. It's like, so this was overnight shipping for free. I got the Chromecast plus tax, and that was it. And I started here. So like, it's pretty cool. It's a nice, convenient way to load all my new apps. I got the finals playing right now. They're at halftime. I personally like it. I think the controller's a little on the cheap side, but it's $50. I think it's a good deal. But having Stadia on this, if it's going to be 8K 120 at some point, that's going to be phenomenal for a $50 freaking device that can plug a PlayStation controller in, a Switch controller, or an Xbox controller, any controller. Like, it's literally going to be the cheapest way to play the best games in the world. Am I wrong?
Yep.
I'm wrong?
No,
or-
I mean, no, you're not. I mean,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
HDMI 2.1 opens up everything. And if they
Yeah.
ever down the line, which they're not going to do that right now, this is a future-proof device for at least
Yeah.
the next 5 to 7 years. You know, if they do another device that's HDMI that's 2.2, then you start getting into the realm of 8K 120. So they're being smart about this. And look, at the end of the day, like I said just a moment ago, and I was trying to seriously credit MM on this, it doesn't affect most of the people in the community. You're going to be playing on your CCU unless
Right.
one of them dies. My view was very much more outside of us in our ecosystem, but here's the real deal. You are going to be able to play this next year, and you will be able to play it on this device, and it'll be a one-stop shop for everything that you do in your household. So in that regard, you can't be upset about the device.
Exactly.
I have a question about it. Is there like a workaround for forcing it to play
Yes.
Stadia?
But I would not recommend
Supposedly.
it.
Yeah, I'm ordering mine and I'm gonna try it, and you guys, I'll do it live and embarrass myself. We'll see.
Okay.
Ray tried it and he had no success.
I have the app on here right now, but I can't get to the point where I can like sync everything yet. So I gotta like actually take time to like focus on like what I really need to do. But yes, you can absolutely sideload it. I think it's like your mileage may vary thing when it comes to if it's going to work well for you in your situation, but you can technically put the app on there, but it's not guaranteed to work very well. Go ahead, Eddie.
So it's basically the same thing as you are installing an application on your phone. It's
Right.
the app on your phone that is going into your TV. I know people who done that before, not with CCU, of course, but there are a lot of Android devices, call it Android boxes or Android, even
TV. Yeah.
Android TVs, they call it, but it's like Android boxes that people buy that has an Android OS running, and they install applications. So the people who install xCloud, install GeForce Now, and they install the Stadia app as well.
Okay, this is randomly cool. So I'm like I just said, I'm watching the finals, NBA, and it's on YouTube TV. So, back and forward, a little loading bar and scrolling, whatever. Instead of like this little dot, it's a basketball. I thought it was really cool. I was like, holy
that is so cool. I love stuff like that.
That's awesome.
You know, one thing I wanted to throw in here real quick, just really quickly, that I thought was interesting, and I'm not saying one thing or the other, but I just hope in the future that this will be a consideration. I'm not making it a knock. I will be honest, personally, this was a personal sting to me. So this one is coming from me, not the holistic view. Is YouTube TV said when you start signing up next month, I think it starts on the 13th, that they're going to give you a free Chromecast with Google, a free Chromecast with Google TV. YouTube, Stadia team and Google, please, at some point, you need to start giving out free tech along with the service. Like, that is another way to do a goodwill gesture towards people to get them interested in the service. Again, that's a personal pet peeve. I'm not saying that that's wrong. That's a business decision. That doesn't mean that they're doing something wrong there. They're choosing not to do it. But for me, I'm just kind of like, it stings. It stings to see YouTube TV doing it and not the Stadia team doing something like that. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, I'm
I feel
definitely. Yeah, go ahead, Eddie.
No, I'm sorry, Brian.
What I was gonna say is I'm gonna cancel my month and put it on my girlfriend's account, and we're gonna get
another one
out of it, and we're just gonna switch it right back. Yes, that's an awesome deal, by the way. I retweeted it. Is that if you're a new YouTube subscriber between like October 15th and the end of the year, you get a free Chromecast with Google TV. So it's like that's a phenomenal deal. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Probably
Eddie.
not in Canada.
Probably not.
We don't get a free thing.
I do believe it's actually US only right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say that it's very cool that you can watch live TV over YouTube with YouTube TV.
Yep.
And I mainly would do it just because of sports, because I don't watch TV anymore. But I would say $65 for cable right now. It's not on my interest, which is the price of YouTube TV, right?
So
it's expensive right now. They went up.
Yeah, because they
It
added like
went
an
up.
NFL Network and other things. It's 65 US right now.
Right. So, to be honest, I do believe Brian, as Chase was saying, let me get hardware when I'm paying for the service. So maybe in the future we will see you're buying 6 months of Stadia Pro or 1 year of Stadia Pro, and you're getting a controller with that. That would be cool to see.
Absolutely. So yeah, a lot of cool things they could be doing. I hope they go the Amazon route, since it's going to be direct competitor, where they initially just put all these services together. You get YouTube Music, you get YouTube TV, you can get YouTube, Stadia Pro with it. YouTube, what do they call it now? It's not Red. It's what do they call it?
Originals.
Chase? No, it's the ad-free YouTube experience.
Wait, say it again.
Premium. YouTube
Premium. That's it.
I have
Yep.
it.
Oh,
YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would, I've been wondering if at some point they're going to wrap those two things together, because they've been doing these weird things over on Premium, and I have this funny feeling that they might at some point, which is going to be nice, because if you get YouTube TV, Premium, and the music all included at that price point, or even if it's just an additional $5, then that, in my opinion, is worth the $75. Yeah. Getting all those wrapped up together, and you get the unlimited music without the ad. Yeah, duh. Never mind. I'm talking in circles. I'm done.
I'd love to see it personally, but I think we're going to wrap up the audio portion of this podcast, unless you guys have anything else to add. We're going to move our stadium browser. I mean, we're kind of past the 2-hour mark. We're going to move the if you're listening to us on audio podcast, we're going to talk about iOS getting the ability to play Stadia. So iPhones and iPads can now play on Stadia through a specific browser. We're going to move that to the after show. Before we get to rounding up and kind of have boosting everyone's channel here, if you want to get like a next-gen console starter pack, I am doing a giveaway. If you're here in the YouTube chat, click the pinned message. You can enter into a giveaway. If you're listening to us, go to go to twitter.com/Brian Evolved. It's my pinned tweet. You can enter in to get a controller plus like a subscription type gift card with whatever system you choose. But there's the Series X, the PS5, the Switch, or Google Stadia. You can pick your favorite and get that if you win. So that's what I'm doing here on this channel. Otherwise, let's go ahead and go around the room. Let's pimp up our channels here. Chase, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me. Man, my brain is fried. YouTube.com/Stadia Talk. You can also find me on Twitter at Phantom UFC Fan.
Yep.
And for the people that are listening to this and people in the chat, please know that when we leave here tonight, no one's going to have any hard feelings. We're all friends at the end of the day, and it's all about healthy discourse. So please know that. I know it got a little testy, but listen, sometimes these debates do and these conversations do. We all respect and love each other. So just remember that.
Chase, you.
And that's it. Eddie, where can people find you? And let us know where you can find your podcast as well.
Right, everybody. You can find me at Eddie Player One over Twitter and on YouTube. Me and Chase recorded a podcast together with Kai and Ashes every Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Eastern Time, and it's also available on all podcast platforms. And if I may already, there's going to be a surprise next week. Keep an eye up for Wednesday.
Oh,
awesome.
what's happening?
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yes, Wednesdays.
What's happening? So
Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Is that when the next TS or twos will be, or is
No,
an addition?
Tuesday is not moving. It's a new surprise at Wednesdays at 8 p.m.
So stay tuned, folks. MM2K, where can people find you on the World Wide Web?
They can find me on the World Wide Web at Stadia Dosage. Well, really Stadia, because I had to make a brand account. Stadia Dosage Entertainment, ENT.
Yeah.
You can find me at twitter.com/MightyMost2000. You can also find me with Broadband Bullies and PNTS Network. Speaking of Broadband Bullies, I thought today's discussion was passionate, but I didn't think it was bad at all. I hope no one thought that we hate each other. God, God forbid you guys watch Broadband Bullies. Jesus.
I was getting ready to say this. When I watch those shows, I'm like, sometimes people have no idea that these passionate discussions don't raise to anything close.
Exactly. Yeah. No, we're passionate about our views, and it's good for Stadia to hear it. I always say that's why I say telling people to shut up is not not good for the community or not good for organic growth. So I think this was a great show. We're going to continue it on.
And if I may, another great member of this community, Project Storm. He does a show with you, right?
Yes, Project Storm. Yes, they can find that. They're going to find it tomorrow on Project Storm's channel. Look up Project Storm on YouTube. We're going to be doing episode 5 of SML podcast, where we will be taking live calls, Yappa comments, and if you're part of our Discord, you can leave us a comment and we'll read it live on air.
Absolutely. Quick shout out to Project Storm. He's an awesome member of this community, very passionate member of this community, and I think he does a great job that you picked him out to be your co-host for that show. So shout out to both of you for that. Meg, where can people find you on the YouTubes and the Twitters and the MySpace and the Zengas and everything else in the world?
Okay, well, you can find me on YouTube. That's the most important. YouTube.com/MegatronX. And my Twitter is Meg_Atron_X. And that's where you can find me.
And her entire family is in the chat, so say hello to Mom.
That's right. Don't say anything to me that you don't want my mom to see. Keep it clean.
Exactly.
I just went into the naughty chair. I'm so sorry, Mama Tron.
The official mom of the TSI podcast. So again, I want to thank everyone for joining us live as well as on delay on your favorite podcast platforms, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, wherever the hell it gets blurted out to. I don't care. It's awesome that you guys support us. Ray, I want to thank you especially for throwing a super chat our way, $20 super chat. Awesome. We got plenty of channel supporters. Again, we have one more episode left on this specific channel starting October 30th. We're going to Stadia Talk's channel. That's Chase's channel. So youtube.com/Stadia Talk if you want to watch us live starting October 30th, the day before Halloween. Should we all dress up for that day?
Oh, God.
Sure.
Very
I don't mind.
on Chase's channel.
I don't mind.
We should all dress up in a Halloween costume, right?
Okay.
Can we commit?
I
can do it.
I can wear my dragon onesie.
I was gonna wear my onesie too, Eddie. I was like, I can put on my onesie. That's not a big deal.
A onesie's easy. But again, we're going to be doing an after show here for our YouTube listeners. So if you want to listen to the rest of this specific episode, go to youtube.com/Club Stadia, where we're going to talk about plenty of stuff. So including iOS being able to play on Stadia, as well as family sharing and some founders frustration. So until next time, I want to thank you guys for your support, and we will catch you down the road. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, audio.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So how are you guys doing on the other side of the music? Good.
That was long. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I wish I had
super
some fucking alcohol is what I wish I had.
You could say that now. It's okay, Meg. Calm down.
Mom, I hope you went to bed. I think she went to bed. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. She knows what swearing is.
Right, I'm going to get a beer and be back.
I've been dreading that conversation all day. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Chromecast?
Yeah, because listen, because didn't do this, and he knows this, but there was just so many people that took what I said out of context, and I just was like, God damn, I hate having to like re-explain things. It's one of my like, it's like a kryptonite. Like I just want to like melt.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm going to have to go through this again and explain all this again.
Here's what happened. And I can explain what, cause I get Dear John messages.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I get Dear John messages. What you guys got to understand is that Chase is trying to have decorum. Chase is trying to engage in thought-provoking conversation, whether you agree with it or not. That's all he's trying to do. So when he sees a point of view and he has an alternative point of view, he's just going to chime in and give his thoughts on it, just to like have to add breadth and depth to the conversation. Yeah. The problem is that before Chase even got involved, there were people throwing Molotovs and starting incursions, and Chase is just walking down the street, la la la. Hey, you want to talk about this? Let's talk about this. And it's surrounding all these Molotov cocktails that each side is throwing at each other. So you guys got to understand that when Chase is trying to engage, there's no malicious intent. That's why me and him can go back and forth between 82 tweets and be like, great, hey, great. It was a great thread. Look at this, everybody. He does not have malicious intent. You got to separate. You can't lump everything together. And I think that's what the community is doing, is that they're saying, okay, you don't agree with me. I'm on this side, so you must be on that side. And that's not the case. And it's something that we got to stop.
I wasn't even coming at Stadia this time. I was just like, please, I swear to God, y'all, like Stadia the Division, like they had a great week. Just go celebrate. Dead by Daylight is fucking awesome. And it is. It's a good game. They had a good Stadia. Seriously, y'all, Stadia, that group, they should really be proud of themselves. They had a really, really good week. And you know what else they're doing really good? And we didn't even touch on this in the podcast. They are responding to people left and right. Their communication has been phenomenal. Like, because bravo.
Didn't Rock say that he was on the mute list and he got a response from Stadia about something?
Yeah.
A lot of people, it might be changing their tune, because I think Duncan was even responded to, and he's definitely on that list.
Oh, Eddie, are you still on the naughty list?
Yeah, you know, Chase.
I feel like I am too. I don't even know what I did. I mean, I'm usually positive, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, Eddie,
Brian, you better watch your latest videos.
My latest videos?
No, I'm just kidding. But there was a video, one or two, that you said a few concerns. Can I talk about
what?
Can I talk about tandem mode?
Yeah, we're absolutely going to talk about it. Let's go ahead and bring that up right now. Yeah. So tandem mode, I'll just kind of like start off the mention of it is randomly. So every month Stadia does like a save point, which is kind of like their way to kind of just summarize everything that's happened in the last 30 days, which is a cool thing they do. I think it'd be better suited if they did a video version of this, but they do this on the Google official website, which is their blog website. And they mentioned that you could just randomly plug your USB-C headset into a Stadia controller when playing, but you can essentially daisy chain a PlayStation controller, an Xbox controller, an adaptive controller from the Xbox side of things. Chase, Eddie, what specifically did you want to touch on here?
So I tried. I want to share it. And I tried. So I had this adapter. Mm-hmm. I have a DualShock 4. I don't have an Xbox controller.
Sure.
And the DualShock 4, you guys know it's USB Type B.
Yep.
So I had to plug this adapter here on the controller. Mm-hmm. I had to plug a USB cable to the controller. Mm-hmm. And connect this here. Yep. But here's the deal. First of all, when you do this, it may not work immediately. Yep. So I have them connected. What you gotta do in order to have it working, first open a game. After you open a game with the Stadia controller and you have the controller already paired, you plug the DualShock 4 or Xbox controller. Oh. Very important that this controller is completely powered off. So make sure that it's completely powered off. Mm-hmm. But now here it's what it does, or it did for me at least with the DualShock 4. Yeah. Any rumble that it would present on this controller, it wouldn't replicate on the DualShock 4.
Sure.
And the other thing, it's so it is exactly cloning. What did I miss?
No, nothing. Sorry, there was a side conversation going on. Just keep going, brother. Just keep going.
So it clones your inputs. So it is just like if you are pressing the buttons here, it's cloning on the other side. So it's not like you're having two controllers. It's you having if I press triangle, it will be equivalent to my pressing Y.
Exactly. So
it could be fun, like if you're playing with two people, right? You aim and I shoot. So somebody it could be fun playing that way. But it's mostly important, I think, for the adaptive Xbox controller.
And I think that's kind of been their official word, is like the adaptability, accessibility aspect of it. Meg, did you have something to say specifically?
Okay, I didn't. Okay. It's first of all, the whole thing. It's just not what it should be doing. They should just turn on Bluetooth or whatever and have them connect. And I didn't even realize before I was about to criticize this that it's not even for 2 players. I was like, oh, that is so cool. So you can have your friend over and you guys can play and you don't need a second Stadia controller. You can just use whatever one you have. Because like I have my PlayStation controller. That would be so cool. Like maybe my mom, not that I have no friends. But my mom and I could maybe play together, right? So, but it's not even that. But now I feel less critical because I can see maybe people prefer to use this one or whatever. Yeah. So I kind of am like just like going through multiple levels of like shock
emotions.
Like, yeah, I can't even. So, okay, what I would like to see someday is them to turn on some kind of daisy chain wireless Bluetooth connectivity so that you could wirelessly have other controllers connect and play with your friends. This is like worse than like the HO. It's not a problem that the Sabrina doesn't play Stadia because you can just connect an HDMI to your laptop and connect it to your TV and it's just as easy. Haha. Also, yes, let's now get 3 adapters and like chain our controllers end to end. So that like I can't even right now. I just can't even. That's all I have to say.
Just to add to that very quickly, I spoke earlier in the day with Ashes to Ashes. He has a Elite controller on Xbox, and that controller is USB-C to USB-C. So it was a simple cable connected, but he was feeling a lot of input latency using that.
Yeah, this generation of and hopefully in the next generation of Xbox controllers are supposed to be rid of that, but this generation of Xbox controllers are horrible with the latency when you're trying to connect it to third-party devices, particularly with Fire. If you're using a Fire Stick or Fire TV Cube, use a PlayStation 4 controller. Hell, use a Wii controller. Don't use an Xbox controller. But what I see with this is I don't see this benefiting anybody except if you must have your PlayStation controller semi-wireless on your CCU or the adaptive controller. This is cool for that. Right. Here's the problem though, that this poses, because I didn't realize, because Eddie, by him laying this out, this is a problem. If I have to use an adaptive controller, I probably can't afford to navigate with the Stadia controller first, then set up the you know what I mean? Like that's the whole point of the adaptive controller, is that it should work as soon as you plug it in. So again, not to be nitpicky, but hopefully, and they probably are. Stadia, you work on that on a future patch. You have it to where as soon as you plug the device in, it can and you boot up the Stadia controller, it automatically works. So.
Oh, I thought Brian was like, I've left the chat. I was going to say to first of all, I had to step away for a second because Meg had me to stitches the way she was explaining this. I felt like we were back in the Nintendo, the old school Nintendo Game Boy connectivity days where basically you ran wires to one Nintendo Game Boy to the other. The way she was explaining, I'm sorry. But listen, in all seriousness though, I understand. And I was going to say this before Meg went into that breakdown, that I think for the accessibility side of it, I think this is a cool option. My only concern is I have 2 questions. One, MM brought the one up that I was concerned about, is how is someone going to actually set this up? So that's one element. But here's the bigger one. I'm going to assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, that adaptive controller is going to run off of the battery and the juice on the controller that's the Stadia controller. What's the battery life going to be on that? And how fast is that going to deplete? I see. I'm not a fan of that potentially. I don't know. Again, just me individually. I don't know. I listen, they're trying to be innovative. I don't want to knock them. They're trying to find ways to be creative here and to try to give people options. I can't be upset about that. I just wonder, is there a longer term solution? See, this is what goes back to the whole thing we were talking about with Sabrina versus this. They found a short term solution for a controller.
Yeah.
I just get into these weird places. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. I feel like I'm getting ready to go into a rabbit hole. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop now. This is a cool idea, though. I like it.
I'm gonna play the Michael Jordan gift for you, Chase. You know what? Stop it.
Stop it. Get help.
Get help.
Get help.
I probably do need help at this
I think
point.
eventually it's going to be kind of pointless because we're looking at you can play with Bluetooth, right? So, I mean,
We don't. Well, here's the
daisy-chaining-
thing. We don't know that for sure. That's the assumption with that being on there.
there's no assumption. You can actually hook up a Bluetooth gamepad.
Daddy, you can do it already to Sabrina.
Exactly. That's not like a side-loaded thing. That's like
Let me back up. What I mean by that is we don't know if Stadia will recognize the inputs. I should have said it like that. I know you can already.
hope so
I do too. The assumption
assuming.
is that it's that, but you don't know.
You're right.
I mean,
You're right.
I don't
So,
even know.
we shouldn't assume when it comes to Stadia. You're right, but I mean, when it comes to how the Chromecast Ultra reacts to Bluetooth,
I've
which
made this
doesn't.
mistake too many times, and I've got
That's
to
fair.
stop it. I've made this mistake too many times. I got to stop.
Yeah. So,
I'm sorry. You're going to say somebody.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that part of the difficulty could be too is that Stadia is hoping that the next gen of console controllers work well with this, and then that way, you know what I mean? They're probably basing their firmware or codecs or whatever the hell you call it based off of that.
The API.
And,
I got you.
Yeah, the API. Yep. So we'll see. But I'm going to test it out and embarrass myself live when I do the unboxing. So.
Yay!
You're doing an unboxing for it.
Yep. It's going to be very, very. It's going to be a different type of. I did. Funny story.
Are we going to get a hand review?
Hell no.
How are you going to do an unboxing without a hand review?
Oh, a hand reveal. Yeah. You might get a sleep. I might post it too, just for shits and giggles. I found when I got my Xbox One X, I did an unboxing and it was the most weird, peculiar unboxing. For some reason, I wanted to sound like a 1920s gangster. And I'm opening a box, and I was doing that, and my friend's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I'm gonna post that thing. I'm gonna post it. It's
Please do.
And I had like this old fucking cashmere sweater on because it was cold, and I ran at the last minute to get it, and it's just the weirdest thing ever. And I said, "Nope, I can't put this live on air because Triple B will destroy me." But who cares now? I'll put it out there.
Okay.
The way you explain this story makes me want to watch it even more now.
Yeah. I literally could watch you do anything, and I'm like, you could talk about. Okay, so here's the history of paper. All right, so
Let me show you something.
we don't have Jermaine doing the Hogan thing. So
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
all right, so anything else we want to talk about the tandem mode that Stadia Shadow drops?
Nope.
I said enough.
All right. Wait, that's it. Okay, that's it. And family sharing. We got some new information about family sharing coming to Stadia, which has, I mean, for me personally, I don't give a shit about it because I am the only one in this house that plays.
I have no family or friends.
I have no family. No, that's not it. Until I have a kid 14 years from now that cares about video games, this doesn't matter to me. So, but that's not to say that anyone else in the state community doesn't have kids, or maybe a brother in the house, or a wife in the house, or a husband in the house that is very interested in having their own account and playing with it. So,
A mom.
or a Mamatron X that wants to play
Yeah.
on Google Stadia. You never know. But 9 to 5 Google did some additional breakdowns of the 2.36 Stadia app, the APK, if you will. And I guess the long and short of it is that you will be able to play DLC and claimed games via Stadia Pro through family sharing. So the idea here is that you can have a member of the household that is a Stadia Pro member, and then another member of the household that's not a Pro member can share the same benefits as that Pro member. So we also found out that maybe we're not going to see family sharing show up this year. So this isn't confirmed by any means, but the general messaging that we've seen on Twitter when people have asked Google Stadia's official account about it is that you'll see it at the end of this year. If you do it now, the idea is that you'll get a response saying that we don't have any current news on it. We will share it when we have it. Chase, what's your immediate thoughts on all this? Because I know we were kind of talking behind the scenes about family sharing and whatnot. Do you think, I mean, first and foremost, I mean, sharing DLC and pro games, that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, I think most of the things that are in here, when this does release, it's a positive. Like, I mean, they're finding ways to make make gaming a little bit less intense on families, which I think is actually a good thing. And I know we've got a lot of people in the community that I do see all the time, folks speak about this, that they would like to have the ability to share their library, right? In that regard. And DLC is a big deal because generally that gets landlocked in certain instances. So I think it's also pretty cool that there was APKs found where you don't have to have a pro subscription in order to play some of the pro games, which I think was very, very interesting. So I think, I mean, again, if I'm being honest, like I think this type of article, you got 98% of it in here is really, really good stuff. It just comes down to, well, we'll get to that, but it comes down to, a couple other factors, but overall, I think it's positive, if I'm being honest.
Sorry, I'm eating. Eddie, what are your thoughts on that?
All right, I'll try to speak the most I can, so you can finish eating, Brian. I would say that's actually doesn't surprise me. I wouldn't expect less than that for family sharing, which is whatever I have, either it's claimed or not. Whoever it's on my family can play. It is like this on the other consoles as well already. So if I buy a game on my PlayStation 4, or if I get a game from the PlayStation Plus, anywhere, anybody who have an account logged into my PlayStation can play those games. So
yep.
I wouldn't take that as a surprise. What I take as a surprise, or not as a surprise, I would say, I feel like this feature is indeed coming by the end of the year.
Yep. And
it's going to be on that next Connect, which is going to be, let's say, the celebration for the first year or year closure or whatever you're going to call it. I feel like that show is going to be quite big. Maybe I am hyping expectation again, but that's what I have a gut feeling again that this next show is going to be quite big. We're going to get Uplay Plus for sure. And maybe these big things, big features will be revealed there.
I do have a question because you kind of somewhat brought it up. Why have we hyped up November 19th? Do you see people hyping up the PS4's first year anniversary, the Xbox One's first year anniversary? Do people do that? Is this, or am I very ignorant of this? Like,
well,
is this a Stadia only
25
thing?
years ago. Video games were different. But people hyped up the Switch 1 year anniversary.
The only
which is the closest thing
I remember is the online service for whatever reason, and it's because we were expecting Super Nintendo stuff showing up. But I mean, when you were about to say that, I was like, that's the only thing I could think of. But I don't know, it's weird. Like you're not the only one that said this, but like I've seen people constantly say like, "Oh, we should expect something like November," or like I'm waiting for something in November. I'm like, but why? Like I've never really seen like this happen before in the past.
Because the next generation is starting in, and people are still entrenched in believing that Google is trying to go toe to toe with PlayStation and Xbox at this point in time.
When it's clearly not.
It's clearly not, and they can't. And people can't get over that. It'd be nice. But I think we're still several months off at least before.
That's so kind. Because I feel like, to be honest, to be close to compete with this next gen,
Mhm.
we're thinking of 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
Other than that, I wouldn't see. But Brian, answering your question, it's not every day that we have a new platform, and
True.
the only thing that we can compare right now, which is Switch, because of course Nintendo, it's a over 100 years old company, but the Switch was a huge milestone, and they celebrated the 1 year of the Switch.
I mean, was it the 1 year of the Switch or the 1 year of the Switch Online? Because I remember the only thing I remember specifically about the Switch in 1 year's or the online aspect of it, because we were expecting the Switch to have Super Nintendo support, which eventually showed up.
Right.
But that was, I don't know.
Oh, go ahead, Meg.
I have a question. Remember Google said, "Oh, we're gonna have 120 games released." Did they say by the end of the year or in our first year?
But
They were tracking 120. They said
By
it was
the end
back
of the
in
year.
January before it became as bad as it was.
one thing that is not clear, I guess for me at least, if it is by the end of 2020 we will have 120 games on the platform, or it's by the end of 2020 we will have added 120 games just on the year of 2020.
It's the latter, Eddie. It's that when I was doing my calculation earlier, it was based off of the GameIndustry.biz article. Well, Phil Harrison clearly said in 2020 alone, we would have added 120 new games to the platform. So
Yeah.
Thank
I
you
was
for the
gonna-
clarification.
I was going to add one other thing just to keep in mind. They also gave themselves some wiggle room. If you remember back at the April Connect, they put up a message at the very, 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 very beginning of that Connect that said some of the things we're showing you now could change due to COVID. So they've already
Yeah.
done this. They've given themselves wiggle room. That message was there. They made it pretty clear out in the front that whatever they showed, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. I had another point, but I'm going to hold off.
I just also thought of something like when these consoles first launched. I don't even remember when the PlayStation and Xbox launched because it was so long ago. But they were like, "Here's our box. Here it is," and that was it. Like that was the console until the next one released. So the year mark wasn't as important, whereas Stadia is evolving constantly. There's features being released all the time. We just got new crowd play. So the year milestone is like natural to see, okay, well, how far have we come in a year from launch to now? So the platform is kind of different because you're right. We don't really celebrate the year since PlayStation or whatever released when it very, very started because nothing had changed except more games, right? Stadia is evolving.
And so is Brian's channel.
Well played.
Yeah!
Well played, Eddie.
Nice one.
I was gonna say I agree with Meg on
Brian,
this.
you're on mute.
Are you expecting something to happen at the year anniversary though? Are you guys expecting something at the year mark?
If not at the year mark, at the year week or something.
Around that time, yeah.
Yeah,
I expect them-
around 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why specifically though?
All right. Too many coincidental things happening at the same time can be just coincidence.
Sure.
Like I expect right now the demo for Phoenix Rising dropping on that 1 year anniversary, specifically on that date. I expect that we will hear more things about Cyberpunk. I expect that I expect Uplay Plus by then. Or before, actually, I expect Uplay Plus to be there before that. I expect not so much features related because those can be blog posts as we got recently, but big news, big games like reveal for some kind of review or tease for the game being developed by the Montreal studio.
Mm-hmm.
I expect those things to be dropping either there or I don't. It's either there or it's at the Game Awards from Jeff Keighley, and I don't think they want to compete with the next gen.
So you obviously have something built up in your mind about November, right? So
Right.
when that eventually happens and comes, are you going to be disappointed that nothing happens if that does happen? So if we get to November 19th and nothing happens, are you going to be very upset that nothing happened, or
Not anymore? I'm already vaccinated on this. But if it wasn't before, like another thing that I am expecting, and I didn't mention, I'm expecting to hear, not to official launch, but to hear about the expansion of the services to all the countries. If it doesn't happen, it didn't happen. So right now, I am hyping. When I go to the show, I go with no expectations.
Sure.
And if I'm overwhelmed, as I was on the Ubisoft show, awesome. If they didn't deliver what I was expecting, it is what it is.
Yes, I'm Chase.
If he dies.
What is that? Is it Lance Archer from AEW? Everybody dies. Sorry, I was just thinking of a wrestler. So
or Ivan Drago.
The champ.
So I think Eddie, when we've talked about this, and I know MM's been in some of these conversations too about all the things that look like they line up in November. It appears that there may be something that's around that time, but I think what the past few months has taught me is do not expect anything. And when I say that, that doesn't mean that Google isn't going to do something. It's we can't put the normal rules of engagement on them. They're not operating the way that everybody else is. It's COVID. And again, I've had to take L's on this. Things that I would normally see in business on business practices, not so much, when we had our conversation earlier tonight, but business practices internal, you can't necessarily attribute some of that to this. So I would just say to people, be really, really careful going into that month, because here's the deal. We all thought we were going to get a Connect when this thing launched, and we didn't get a Connect. Remember? And I remember people were really pissed off about that we got nothing at the time that they rolled the controller and the Chromecast out to us.
I was just pissed I didn't get a code until 2 days after. That's awesome.
I know. there were some people that were frustrated about that. Yeah. That were actually, legitimately concerned. So I don't know. I'm going in with low expectations from here on out. And I think that's the best way to do it. If they surprise us, great. If they don't, then we haven't been disappointed. And I think that's a good way to go about it.
Let me read something from Jack Buser from 2019. This is March of 2019. He sat down with VG 24/7. And this is their perspective on the platform. He says, when he was asked about, why would people come over, or what is going to be your biggest pull in this industry? And he says, the same device you are using certainly has better and more rich game experiences. Now he's talking about at launch of Stadia. That will take time to play out, because gamers will have to realize, oh my gosh, Stadia has improved so much from years ago. I can't believe I'm still using the same screen. But that's the third piece there. So basically what they're conceding is, look, and they've talked about this in the DICE 2020. If you haven't seen that, please go see that Stadia's excerpt from that. They're pretty much conceding that they're in the valley. This is the time where they're trying to build the AI, train it, advance the machine learning until it gets to a specific point. And they concede that this may take years for it to really come to fruition. And along the way, they're gonna give us games. You know what I mean? Now, what games at what capacity? Until they say so, don't try to jump ahead of this with the traditional gaming plateau, because that's not their MO. The best thing to say is if you're a tech enthusiast and you want to try out the tech with some of your favorite titles, great. If you're a casual gamer that really don't care about day and date and some of that other stuff, and you just want a low entry to games, great. But if you have this jazz and pizzazz, boom, bam, boom, yeah, you're coming out with the latest and greatest this, right? As far as games are concerned right now, these first few years, that doesn't appear to be their MO until they explicitly say, all right, now we're turning up the juice, guys, and they start jumping through balls of fire or jumping out lions' mouths and stuff like that. Then, okay, then you can say they're serious. But until then, again, it's oh my gosh, Stadia has improved so much from years ago. They're conceding that this is a marathon, not a sprint.
I don't think there's really anything to add to what he said. I mean,
3 hours, Mark.
I think it was well said. I think that's exactly it. I think the only thing I would actually, there is one little thing I'd add. I don't know if you'll agree or disagree with this, but I think in the meantime, there are little things they can do to be relevant and at least to capture some minimal mind share while they go forward. And I think the real jumping off point, or the point where they need to be they need to be in the conversation, right? They need to be in the running, is 2 years. Like that's where they've got to be it's almost like a crossroads, if you will, of you have to be able to now move forward and be relevant. There's the term I would use, relevant.
Or even relevancy for like I'm seeing a lot of PlayStation.
Secondary platform is fine. Yeah.
Like I'm going to name drop right here, real quick, but not to go too far over the 3 hour mark. But for those of you that follow us on the Crumb side, and you know that broadband bullies, we're against what do you call that? What is those guys' names? Goddamn Weapon and Wheel podcast. Now they're a podcast. They have 20,000 viewers every week. And then each of their members have 10,000 viewers. There's a guy by the name of Jack Booth Johnny that's on there, and he is one of the huge PlayStation guys. There were articles that quoted this guy when MLB went multi-plat, or they announced they would be going multi-plat next year.
Yeah.
And they quoted this guy and saying, well, we're going to jump ship from PlayStation because he's that diehard of a fan. He's been saying all over Twitter. He said, actually, someone sent me a tweet from him and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, no, you got to be crapping me. He said, I'm going to be honest with you guys. As far as gaming and unique gaming experiences, my best experience was with Stadia. I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of people, as far as a secondary unit, this is going to work for. But to chase his point, even there's going to be other people vying for that secondary place. Nintendo, Amazon, GFN primarily. And if Stadia wants to be in that spot, they are going to have to make some serious moves, I believe, in the year 2, year 3 mark. Definitely they're going to have to do that in order to keep some relevancy. But again, there are people that enjoy the tech. I think they're putting too much hopes into it becoming a premier platform a little too soon.
Fair enough. Anyone else have anything else on that subject specifically?
No, but I wish I had some proper 12.
I do. Come to Chicago. I got plenty of.
God damn, he almost got 3/4 of a bottle. We know where we're going. We know where we're going, Chase.
It's like I haven't drank proper 12 in like 3 months. Like it's
addicting.
very well right now.
It's addicting.
Let's move to a cool subject here. Like one that I think people can applaud is the fact that some people on iOS devices can now play on Stadia.
Yes.
Through the Stadium browser. Now, I don't have an iOS device, so I can't really speak too much of Meg. I know you've been a big proponent of Stadia joining the Apple ecosystem. So is there something immediately you want to jump off talking about this before we get too much into it?
Sure. Yes. Literally every single episode I say, I want to play Stadia on my iPad. And it finally happened. It works. I did it. There is a Reddit post and I don't understand it at all. You guys probably can tell me how it works. You copy paste the things into the app and boom, Stadia loads up. You sign in with Google and it works. It's amazing. Yeah. I do my Red Dead dailies on it. It works great. I don't find any latency. There's no issue with it. It was really easy to install. You don't have to, it's in the App Store. You don't have to do any type of weird workaround or anything. And the only thing, and a lot of people complain about this, but to me, it's not a big deal. You can't link your Stadia controller. You have to use another type of controller. But I have been pairing my PlayStation controller to my iPad for like a year already to use PlayStation Remote. So that was not a big issue for me. It's a workaround issue. It's not an official Stadia app, so I would honestly be surprised if the controller even did pair up. So yeah, I think it's awesome, and it's free, and it's on the App Store. And I did it on my iPad. I assume it works on the iPhone as well. I don't know if you guys. I just assume you guys don't have any Apple products. I don't know. Have you? Any of you guys tried it out as well?
I don't think any of us have an.
I
Apple.
have an iPad. I didn't try yet because my iPad is from basically my son uses.
No.
And,
Put Stadia on it for him. Let him play.
I know he plays a lot on the iPad. That's why I can't. But I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah, I recommend it.
I mean, it's obviously a big deal because I don't know how it is in Canada, but here in the States, like the most integrated mobile ecosystem, I guess, if you want to put it. So it's a big deal having this. Like, I was literally at Target when I was looking for the Chromecast the other day, and the guy I was talking to was talking about xCloud and Luna. Like, he didn't say anything about Stadia. I didn't mention Stadia, but he was talking about how he's considering Android because he wanted to play his games on his phone. And it's a big deal because people like the Apple ecosystem, but they don't have the ability to play their AAA titles like Destiny or Red Dead Redemption on their phone. They have to go to an Apple device, an Android device. So having this availability is a big deal. So technically it's not officially supported, but it's through an app that you can download through the App Store. So I guess it's unofficially officially supported. So it's good news that it works for you.
The fan base it's supported, I would say.
Exactly. So I mean, it works for you, Meg. So as you already said, so I mean, hopefully we see eventual true support. There's rumors that Apple and Microsoft are working closer and closer to some kind of deal that they can truly integrate each other into the system. So I'm hoping we're closer to that than not close to it, because I mean, there's no reason why people can't play, on Stadia or xCloud or GeForce Now on Apple devices. I mean, it's I don't know.
Well, what's an interesting wrinkle to this is that this is a really quick exit point to get right back onto the freeway.
Sure.
Amazon and Apple have had a very close relationship in a lot of different areas recently over the past year, 2 years. And I know we saw that update come out about them supporting the web OS for basically Luna integration. So my hope, this is what I'm trying to say, I guess is my hope, and this is getting me back onto the freeway with what we're talking about here, is that isn't just locked to that ecosystem, and that's going to start opening up the doors for Stadia and for xCloud and whatever other services are going to be cloud-based can move over into that iOS ecosystem without running into the store restrictions. And this may be a way for Apple to say, look, we found a workaround where we're not going to be legally penalized for what's going on right now, because they're getting ready to walk into some really dangerous territory here. Outside of the issue that they're dealing with Epic, when these other things come up that they're going to have to deal with Microsoft and Google, likely, as far as the storefronts. So,
I just remember something here, just because you mentioned Luna. So basically, trying to simplify or oversimplify what this workaround that the guys got to work on Stadia, the Luna version is the same thing, but technically it has a different codec. Yep. But the workaround is exactly the same thing. You go into the web browser, you put a URL, and Stadia or Luna will load.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think that Apple's going to shut it down? Don't they not want this? Aren't they going to hear about this app and shut it down because they know everyone's using it to do game streaming, which they don't want?
They can't, because the app, it's a web browser.
Yeah,
so there's multiple web browsers available on iOS. I actually have tried before with another web browser that I don't remember the name, and it worked. But it's not a Stadia app; it's a web browser. So
back to my iPad.
Unless they find a way to do some like some sort of like, and this is going to be beyond my level of expertise. And I asked somebody this before, but Eddie, maybe you can explain this better. There might be some way that they can do something with how the God, Jesus, I don't even want to try to explain this because it's going to sound terrible. There's something that they might be able to do that's dealing with the OS itself, tying to this, where it may not allow that to load somehow. I guess I don't understand it, and I don't
actually. No, there's no way. That's why Meg said that part that she copy and paste part of text. It's when you are saying to the web browser and to Safari, please disconsider whatever you are using and using this part that she copy and paste as codec. I'm going to say it's not the right word, but use this part that this string that I'm using to translate whatever video image that you're receiving.
Could they block that though?
No, because that's a Mozilla one, which is from Firefox, and they don't want to remove Firefox application.
Okay, so they're basically in a rock and a hard place. That answers it.
Yep.
That's clever.
Well, maybe they'll call this a victory and say, "Well, see, we're not blocking you."
See, I think Apple's thing is that they look at their store as a commodity. So same with Google, right? Again, I'm not saying I agree with this. They look at their store as a commodity. So if you're going to put something in their store, you got to go through all the bells and whistles. Yeah, having something available through a web browser, they really, whatever. You know what I mean? That's what I take from all that.
Yeah, because exactly, if you go to the App Store, it's gonna say it's a web browser. It's not like you are accessing Stadia, although the owner of the app smartly called it Stadium, but it's a Stadium web browser.
And you have to have some technical know-how. Not that copying and pasting is so hard, but you have to be willing to go Google like the workaround and find the post and like click on it and then open it up and copy. So it's not like you can just tap on Stadia and have it working. It is. Right. It's not like broad appeal for the masses. You know, I was a little bit hesitant to try it because I was worried I was going to have my credentials stolen. But like I said, it comes right from the App Store. So I felt like I would do it. Plus, I was just dying to play Stadia on my iPad. I hate playing on my phone. The screen's too small.
So
oh my God, I'm an old person.
Mac, just FYI, I understand. Yes, there is a validation part for an app to be accepted on Apple Store. It is stronger validation than on
Android?
Then on Android, the beer's kicking in. But still, I wouldn't be 100% safe thinking I download the app on App Store, I'm safe, you know? Not for this case, but in general.
No, for sure. I'm always careful where I put in my stuff, because you do have to sign, like at some point you have to sign in with your Stadia account. So I was like, oh my God, but it's worth it.
Totally.
I was going to ask everybody a thought-provoking question real quick: do you think that the Amazon thing is just locked to Amazon based off of their relationship, or do you think that's going to open up the door?
Meg, or it's me, or it's MM, or if it's Brian, or it's
say that again.
There.
Do you think the fact, because Amazon has shown that it's going to work on iOS through the same type of methodology, do you think that opens up the door for legal use of other services? So they allow Stadia to do the same thing, and they allow...
Well, it's a codec thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, would that not be different than legal?
Yeah, anybody that like xCloud, if xCloud can come up with a solution, then they'll be next. You know, I mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Eddie, or anybody, I think that Google actually, or no, I think it was you, Chase, that sent me the verbiage. They said, Google said, not Google, damn it.
Oh, you're talking about the TOS, the terms of service stuff.
Yeah, I think it's skated around because of the web thing. So if anybody, like if me and you, Chase, come up with the Chase and MM cloud service, if it's web based, it can go on Apple. They don't care.
God help everybody if that happens.
Yeah. We're going to try to make our own Baldur's Gate with controller support.
Somebody's desk catches on fire. Oh God, we're sorry.
sorry.
Hold us responsible.
All right. Any more on the Apple Stadium stuff? All right. Right there. Sound good?
Was that?
What?
You went out.
What?
You went out for a second, Brian.
Oh, okay. Sorry. What do you say? We wrap it up right there. We all good? We good?
That's
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Cap.
Good.
Yep.
You guys are all like silent at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
No, we said
No,
yeah.
we're good. We're good. I thought you were just gonna cut it off. Like, all right,
Man,
we're
it's
good.
that proper
And
12.
done.
it is.
And-
Oh, the Irish whiskey's hitting you, man. I love it.
It's been a while. So, this has been the Stadia Initiative's 14th episode. It's been 14 episodes now.
Wow.
We do this every 2 weeks, by the way. So,
Yep.
we
That's
did happen
amazing.
to do an episode last week, which was weird
Yeah.
because we've done 3 weeks in a row. I mean, last week was kind of a special week because we had the Luna news and we were all, about it.
Over the moon.
What's up?
We were over the moon.
Oh, over the moon, exactly. So, I mean, more competition is good, right? So, I mean,
Yep.
Eddie looked like he had something else to say.
No, okay. I thought anybody got the reference because
I did.
Luna,
We got over the
Because he
moon.
said Luna, it's over the moon. I got
Oh, I didn't get it. Thank you for explaining. That's funny.
Luna and moon in Spanish, but
it.
all right. Anyway.
it? Luna over the moon?
Okay, Cap.
I can do this all day. But seriously. So, yeah, we're hitting the big holiday season here. So, I mean, we have a lot of stuff we can possibly anticipate. But of course, we don't want to set our expectations too high. So we don't know. Some things can happen. We don't know. But do you guys have anything else left to say until we wrap this up or what?
No, I think that was good. It was
Yeah.
a great episode.
job.
We all
Great
had.
job.
We're
Yep.
fiery.
This was great. Yeah. Yep.
Fiery.
Pew 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 pew.
6'4" missed it. He missed it.
He did. Speaking of pew pew, I saw a person that he drives around my town, and it's not the first time. It's like I saw like a few years ago. His license plate is literally pew pew.
Yes.
I don't want to post a picture of it because
Which car was it?
Huh?
Which was his car?
It was like a truck.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if the pew pew was like actually video game related. It might have actually been military related because he had like military stuff on his truck. But I thought it was kind of funny. It said pew pew, but so I'd let you guys know.
Meg's face though.
Because she always talks about pew pew.
Bye, Chad. Bye, everybody. Everybody's
See
done.
everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Eddie.
everybody.
Road. Some of us may be playing Dead by Daylight tonight, so if you haven't already, hook us up on Stadia. Otherwise, catch us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, everywhere that we're available. So thank you guys. We'll catch you in 2 weeks' time on the 16th of October. It'll be the last episode on this channel when it comes to live content. After that, we'll be on Chase's channel at youtube.com/Stadia Talk. And there's possibilities, I just want to put that out there now, that we might change the time to make it a little earlier so we can accommodate our friends overseas, because we got plenty of people that I know I'm personally friendos with that are on the other side of the pond that I would like to integrate into this podcast, or at least have the ability to have their voices heard when it comes to the chat elsewhere. So there's talk of possibly moving the podcast a little earlier in the day. So stay tuned to all of our channels. We'll definitely let you know if it, but of course, next week will be not next week. 2 weeks from now will be the last episode on this channel live. After that, will be on Chase's channel. So do you guys have anything else you want to say before we sign off for the night? At least on this podcast. We might stream later personally, but Chase is smiling like he has something to say. I don't know.
Hashtag proper 12, baby.
Is it too obvious? Sorry.
Brian, are you really gonna stream after this?
No,
not
he
me.
is gonna stream. Please,
No, actually, I have to be quite honest, y'all.
he needs to
Please
stream.
do. Please do.
Please do, Brian.
I will
Brian,
be there.
please.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna be there as well.
I will send you my
Finish the
Chromecast
bottle.
when it comes in the mail. I'll
We
send
got
that to
some
you
left.
too.
We got some left.
Oh man.
God.
We'll catch you guys down the road. Thank you for joining us tonight. Ray, thank you for the super chat. If you followed the channel, thank you as well. And then, of course, thanks to my esteemed cast, Chase, Eddie, MM2K, and Meg. And, of course, Germani, who is also on the farm tonight. He will, I assume, be with us on the next episode, on episode 15. Seriously, we've almost been doing this for half a year at this point.
Oh my
Am I
god.
calculating that right?
Yeah.
This is
That
awesome.
would be good.
Math.
I mean,
Time flies.
National Podcast Day was the other day, so I want to thank you guys on the air specifically for being a part of this podcast for so many episodes over the last couple weeks. I'm all right. Let's just say it. I didn't think 10 months from 10 months ago I would not be a part of this kind of group here because I found myself in this community that I didn't know any of you guys. I mean, I was very new-ish. I was very kind of late to joining the Stadia side of things. I was late when it came to pre-ordering my founder stuff. So to kind of be integrated into this community of sorts and being able to feel comfortable to having you guys on collaborative podcasts like makes me feel personally really well about myself. So I want to thank you guys specifically for making this such an amazing experience over the last 14 episodes that we've done. I was very Chris and Tom on our show last week. I truly think, as Chase constantly says, is they're my favorite podcast in this community because I think they're very down-to-earth guys. If they were here in the States, I would ask if they'd all hang out with us personally because I think they're awesome dudes. And I'm very humbled that they were able to join us. Very humbled that you guys are able to join me here every 2 weeks that we do this thing. And I'm very proud of what we've been able to do, not only as just us six together, but all the people that watch us. So I want to thank you guys personally. And thank you. So,
Cap.
To the next 15 weeks.
I was going to say, cheers to my non-existent drink that's here.
and a further congratulations to our friends, like I just mentioned, over the Sounds of Stadia, who just had their 52nd episode. It's not easy to do. This is only our 14th episode that we've done. We only do this every 2 weeks. They do it every single week. They've done it over the last year or so. And I want to send a special shout out to them. I know they're sleeping because it's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 in the morning over there in the UK. So, thanks to them. Thanks for joining us last week. And of course, thanks to everyone that's just joined us over the last half year. So
I have to say something, though, Brian. You always thank us. But we have to thank you because you picked us and brought us together. And now you guys are like my friends. Like, we're all like this. And we never would have been like that if it wasn't for you thinking, Brian, and being like, you know what? I'm going to create something amazing. And you have. And I'm sad that Germani isn't here to celebrate with us. But we should do this next. We have to do this all again on the next episode.
Cap, I just want to say you're the first Avenger. And if it wasn't for you, we would not. Meg is 100% right. You wouldn't have the group of people that you have here. Diverse personalities, diversity of thought, and it makes this podcast beautiful.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Hashtag Proper 12, the unofficial
Proper
sponsor.
12.
absolutely. So, thank all of you for joining us as always, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks' time. And as Chase is poignantly staring at his camera like that.
Chat left like 10 minutes ago.
Like these drunk assholes need to shut up and move on. All right. We'll catch you down the road 2 weeks from now. Otherwise, subscribe to all of our channels. We all live stream at some point or another, or we just kind of babble our thoughts to you in the Stadia verse of sorts. So thank you guys. We'll catch you down the road. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.